Introducing PubCoin. PubCoin is the rewards program for pub sports contributors. Regular chat contributors share their play of the day, POD, in the YouTube chat, including the phrase POD in their message. At the end of the week, the amount of units earned are converted into PubCoins. PubCoin can be used as reward points for prizes, shop discounts, and contests.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's Mills here, Pub Sports Radio. Do you guys want to challenge the personalities here at Pub Sports Radio? Do you guys think you're better than them at entering in your MMA predictions and picks? Would you want to get paid for it? $100? Here's how you do it, man. You sign up right here at the link below. It's just this easy. PubSportsRadio.com. Enter your email. Pick your weekly picks. That's it. Oh, and you get bonus points if you can predict how they're going to win in what round. Every single week, a new winner's getting crowned. So every Saturday on Pub Sports Radio. So come on and check us out. You can win $100 just for signing up. Only thing you need to do is see if you can beat us here at Pub Sports Radio by entering your UFC predictions and picks weekly. Do it. I dare you. See you guys soon.
Upgrade your membership to Gold, you will be automatically entered in every horse race, every Wednesday and Friday. It is time to race horses. We are racing camels today.
Shout out to the Gold members. We're racing in San Antonio immediately here. And we're off. 2 minutes, 74 canals on this racetrack. It's wide. We're racing in San Antonio.
Pat Wally moving forwardly. Jeff Slaughter in the mix as well. And as is Randall Sheffield, who's put that beautiful nose out front.
But it's actually real grass here, Jimmy. Maybe Kentucky bluegrass. Oldie, no! There he goes. There he goes. Oldie in the lead now. K. Wolf falls back. The horses love it. Sometimes they stop and eat it on the way to the finish line. That's why your horses start so far in the back. Oh, look at Nuss Flush Allen bursting out here. J-Dub in the mix. Rude Boy up here as well. Jimmy, take it away.
There's Oldie. Oldie is moving to the front. We are past the halfway mark in our 2 mile. And there's Ricky Levy.
Oh my goodness, he's in the mix here. Jimmy, take it home. This is our first dog race ever.
19 seconds left in the horse race here. It's Fernando Mendoza trying to find the wire. 14 seconds left. Can Fernando Mendoza take this home? Here comes Kenny Can. Kenny Can wants a piece of the pie. Put his schnoz up front. Ricky Bobby, 9 seconds left. Can Donut Silks make a run? Can Res Mall make a run to be $50?
You son of a bitch!
Here comes Tori Coker. Kenny Can Smoke and Mirrors. Director 97 home. That is the way. Here comes Jason Meyer, the Eldorado custodian. Billy Friedrich. Jones one all coming down to the finish.
Coin! Nowhere!
Oh no! Fanatical Jim!
Get 'em, Jimmy, where low shack at? The bottle's getting empty, I'm the cracking, we stacking. Chips, all of this, what I want, plus money winners, that's what I'm on. You can say I'm gone, I prefer elevated Pub Sports Radio. Time to get educated, who can produce, pay the juice, letting loose with so much abuse that the bookies wanna call it truth. They're getting slaughtered, can't forget Jeff and LoBag in the chat. That's a legal record, cause we need, oh yeah, pubbing. We be pubbing!
What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Thursday, September 12th to all of you. Thank you for watching Betting with the Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. I'm pumped up to be back in action with you. We have a monstrous day here on Pub Sports Radio. Betting with the Bag off the hop. Then we hammer the Cappers Contest show. We have our first 2 winners of the Harbor Acres Cottages Perfect Weeks Shout out to Preston Ekdahl and Dave Beckett, both going 5. And Preston Ekdahl has been a monster in these NFL contests we've had. So we have our Cappers contest show at 3 p.m. Eastern. Jose Bouquet and I will host. And then tonight's live stream. Bills Dolphins going up against primetime unders. I rarely have the confidence to go up against big market moves. Doing it tonight, baby. Doing it tonight. Can't wait to rock with all of you. Also, tonight we have the Pub Sports Radio debut of our guy, Elio Rodriguez. I can't believe that we finally get Elio on our show. A top set. We've rocked with him for so long. Elio going to be rocking with us. Elio tonight making his debut, baby. We have Elio. We have Peter Loshak. We have Dutch Boy Fresh. LJ from H-Town. Wine Time. Brizzy. Troy Torrance. And myself rocking on tonight's live stream. So join us and let's get paid. Justin McKelvey in the house. Great to see you, Justin. Kyle Tucker over 1.5 bases to get started. And Stacks Play Today number 2 is the Dallas Wings. Team total over 83.5. I've already bet the Dallas Wings. First half and full game. I haven't been tweeting out my WNBA action just because I got in really late and I've not made many moves on the season. But I'm, very healthy in the black, have a real beautiful ROI. And because I moved on the Wings first half and full game, I wanted it out. So everyone, if people wanted to rock with me, could. So that's up. So I'm right with, sorry, that's the wrong thing to copy and paste here. Not Stacks 1, but Stacks 2 above the game. So I'm right with Justin, correlated. I'm on the Wings here. I hope it's a look ahead spot for the Liberty. You guys know how I love back in the team that gets their ass kicked in the first of a back-to-back or, back-to-back, I guess, or 2 games in 3 nights in the same barn. Even if they switch spots, I like it. So let's get this going here. We have Tucker. We have 8 MLB games, and then we have Bobano back in business with us. Bobano has picked 1 NFL game, and we have 13 NCAA football games. 13 to hammer. Of course, Dabra Cadabra with best bets as well. Let me get this Tucker spot in. It's a beauty game, the Tucker spot. That's going to be a very, very, very fun game. Framber in business is a huge favorite, giant favorite against Mitch Spence. Going to be beauty. We got Viper NB. We're going to be capping NFL here again on the show, hammering it one more time. Bobano will hear his take on the Thursday nighter. Something we don't get, and something that will be happening on all our Thursday shows as we move forward is Bobano will be capping the Thursday nighter. We'll track his Thursday night record as we do here. So Vipe is on Josh Allen under 8.5 rush attempts. It's funny. I saw a lot of Josh Allen props on the over, and we, very curious what that injury to the non-throwing hand will do to him, wanting to push the envelope, which is what you want him to do. You don't want him to play with any kind of caution. You want him to throw it to the wind. Even when he's hurt, it's a tricky spot. MLB dog of the day, spreadsheet dog of the day is in. It is the fish. The Marlins here. With Darren McCacken. Doesn't look like it would be pronounced McCacken. But that's how Darren pronounces that last name. McCacken. Gamma Ray play today from the Nuke Worker. Arizona State +1 will be capping that game. I know it's been capped already beautifully here on Pub, but Bobano and I will do a run through quickly of that game, which we'll do on all of, if there's a game going on that day, even if we've got a beautiful video on Pub about it, we're still going to hammer it here. Just so we can go give it a once over. Tom Leach made in England play today is the Dolphins -2.5. Gordon Nkowski on Tigers, Cardinals, moneyline, and Dolphins. Let's get the locked and copied and pasted here. I've done a nice job thus far, copying and pasting these spots at the game so we can talk about it and I won't miss it and have to revisit it. Let's get this all in. Gordon Nkowski. Love seeing everybody's action to start the day. I've only made 1 bet in MLB, but I just can't stop betting NFL. My goodness. Had 15 bets in week 1. Have 12 right now in week 2. And there's more that I like. Gerald Jones, Washington Nationals, first 5 -0.5, -105. Backing Mitchell Parker in that one. Let's get this here. We got Ken Wood, Johnny Guns. I didn't know about that, Johnny. That's a funny story. Nice to see you, Johnny. Crystal Craig missed baseball. Matt Chapman over 1.5 bases at plus 135. Chapman had a homer yesterday. Very pleased with the big contract that he has now. No concerns as he moves forward. Ken Wood hit a plus 800 MLB bet last night. I love to hear that, Ken. Love to hear that. Voodoo Ranger. Tom Lee's Astros killed a plus 614 parlay last night. Oh, but he did cash out. Okay, that's good. Serious business, proof bets. We got Wine Time Sports in the house. He'll be rocking with us. Tonight. I can't wait. Raymond Reichart, Rob McMahon, DC Capper, Kelly McInnes, and Kent Davies. Northwestern State, South Alabama over 59.5. Should be a blowout, but I think that NW State can score and put the game over. Let's copy and paste that. We are not capping that one, unfortunately. The line didn't come out till late. We can start. We're focusing on FBS, but we can change that as we move forward if you guys want it. And there's Kong's Clips. Hope you had a great, great birthday, my friend. And you're going to get my single best NFL bet. And I've been trying to figure it out between a couple. And I promise that, Kong. Hope you had a great, great birthday, man. By the way, with Elio rocking with us on our live stream this evening. I just, making his debut. We'd love if anybody out there, wants to also rock with us on camera, who's never done it before and thought about it. The live streams are a great way to get that rolling. It was great having Sweaty Butcher rocking with us in the Jets Niners game on Monday night. And I'm really excited to hang out with Elio. Now, I've had the pleasure of hanging out with Elio in person, and it's, he's just money in the bank. A hell of a poker player. When I messaged him last night, he was sitting there at the poker table at Hard Rock with, I don't know, 600-700 chips ahead of him, maybe more, because those stacks of 25 probably had over a K and had him in front of him. Phillips over a quarter sack at plus 250. Jalen Phillips here for Voodoo Ranger. And there's Joey Todaro. What a show these guys have, man. Our UFC podcast, Locker Room Podcast, is just blowing up, man. It's absolutely excellent. And shout out to everybody involved in it. The Lazy Boy Rodriguez to make it 4 straight for Joey Todaro. Thank you for sharing that. That is copied and pasted, Joey T. Let's get that locked in here. I love it. And I love what you guys are doing. Respect to the Locker Room Podcast. Had Taco on it this week. I mean, they're just rolling. All right. Trap God Shakir over 41.5 yards. Let's get that locked. And Slow Jam says it's a drug. Yeah, I just, you spend so much time on it. Yeah. Pub drop, Georgia minus 6.5 first quarter from Kong's Clips. Let's get that copy and paste. We got to get to work because we do have a ton of college football with Bobano to get to. A Nasty Nate on Pat's money line. And Redbeard, Fish, and the over at 48, or over 48 plus 200. At the same time, Survivor and Razor Sharp picks. Unfortunately, I don't get to be involved anymore after last year's win, knocked out week 1. But it's going to be the same always. So everything opens up just like Circa's contest on Thursdays. So it should open up around a little after noon today. It always will. Always will be the exact same. Always will be the exact same. LJ from H-Town, Seattle, Moneyline Rangers 5-14. First game of a road series from LJ. LJ will be rocking with us tonight on our NFL live stream. Kent Davies, Slow Jams, Arsenal, ready to go. Texas State and Arizona State over 61. Let's get that copied and pasted here on my worksheet. My dude, Kent Davies. Kent Davies, let's do it, man. Let's do it. Yeah, Kong's Kill-Ups. We'd love that. We really want to open this up. It's a very, very fun. DC Capper said, cashed my biggest wager I've ever made, 3,000 on the Lions minus 3.5. I love hearing that, my friend. The Clark Edge in the house. Joey Todaro and Keon Coleman over 3.5 receptions. Let's get this locked in. There is Nordy ready to cap with us. Let me just move this over and read his comment. There we go. Nordy says, what up, big day to wife's last radiation treatment. Hopefully this is all over. Oh man. This is how we start the show, with the positivity that we're sending to Rebecca right now. if we could all just take a second and however you do it, if it's praying or what works for you, if we could send as much positive energy and love to the Norman family and to Rebecca. And, they've handled this so inspiringly. And I just, right when this was all going down, I was like, she's going to beat this, man. You just felt it. And let's just hope that this is the last radiation and it's all over. So love to the Nordy family. And, we'll send our strength to Rebecca, but she's got so much strength. She doesn't need it. She doesn't need it from us, but we'll send it all the same. Love to you guys, man. Love to you guys. Dougie Wise on the Dolphins -2.5 says the Fish winning tonight. Let's get to work. And then, of course, Trap God saying Josh Allen 10-2 versus the Fish in his career. And let's roll. Ron says, sorry, I missed the Tuesday night NFL play day. Houston -6. Get that copied and pasted here so we can discuss. Oh, and the Sharpie with the odds bunch here. I'm very nervous about that first game that we're going to be talking about here in a second. I've doubled up on it. I doubled up early last night, and the line didn't move forever. Look at that, 21-9 in Major League Baseball this month from Sharpie. There's Nate Dogg 420 in the house. Screwball 9 or more Ks. Rocker 5 or more. Alt Parlay, Gavin Williams, and Screwball 6+ and 7+. Be very interesting to see how Gavin Williams bounces back here from that poor start. Extremely poor, 2/3 of a start in his last one. And Philly Eagle Flyer also on Scoobs over 8.5. Get that here. Oh, we love you, Nordy, and your family, and how you guys have handled this adversity. It's just the strength of your family going through this is impenetrable. That's how strong you guys are, and we're just gonna send as much positivity your way, my friend. And Ron Crawford says Rocker, a Vandy stud, like Jack Leiter, or different, or better, or worse. We'll talk all about that here with our friend Jose. There's Topset in the house. Elio making his Pop Sports Radio a debut tonight on our live stream. Old Buck Knife. It'll be great for you guys who don't know Old Buck Knife the way we do. Old Buck Knife going to be rocking with us this evening. It is time to get to work. It's been too long. Well, I got to hang out with him on the live stream, which he was hilarious, as always. It seems like every time we watch his New York Jets play, it's heartbreak. It's heartbreak. Please welcome from San Antonio, Texas, star of MLB programming here on Pub Sports Radio. San Antonio, Texas, home of the Southtown 101, best bar in Texas. Please welcome Jose Snips Bouquet to the telecast. Oh, Jose, you look nonplussed. You look nonplussed to get things started.
Admittedly, I am exhausted. Football season is a tiring time for me, but we ride on. I had a shit day in baseball yesterday, but hopefully we bounce back today.
Well, it is nice to see you, my friend. It is nice to see you. I say we get right to work. Slow Jam says Lindor does it again. Look, I took a ton of heat for my comment about how I would vote Frankie Lindor as the most valuable player of the National League. He plays every single day at shortstop. If he wills his team in to the playoffs, I think it deserves it. Ohtani not pitching this year. Now, if Ohtani goes for 50-50, maybe I think about it again. It's likely to do that, but sitting on the bench most of the season and hitting, it's just not enough for me, Jose. It's not enough for me.
It's a great second place finish from Lindor. Him and Bobby Witt will have two of the best second place finishes of all time for MVP races.
Yes, and that shot off Bowden Francis broke us. So yesterday, you guys know there's not been a no-hitter since 1990. The great Dave Stieb for the Toronto Blue Jays. I was at Nate Dogg 420's house. We had my daughter Ella, his daughter Kalia playing together. All of a sudden, we're watching the game. We get to the 9th inning, and I'm like, oh my god, are we gonna together sitting here with our kids? Are we gonna watch the first no-hitter, the second no-hitter in Blue Jays history, the first since 1990, and then Frankie Lindor had other.
Guess who had the under in that game?
Oh, I'm sorry, Jose. And I didn't know who was on it, but I told Nate Dogg, I was like, my heart breaks for under bettors in that spot. It feels like things always work out for over bettors.
Just disgusting. I'm going to start betting more unders. I should have went 3-0 in unders yesterday. It was fucking disgusting. But I don't want to complain, sit here and bitch and complain. Let's just.
Okay. Very exciting. We get to talk with Sharpie about young Kumar Rocker, which is going to be so much fun.
Unfortunately, I don't think he's in the Jack Leiter category. I asked my buddy about him, and he actually said he was good. So.
Oh, this guy looks really, really good. Now, in 2021, he could have been. The Tommy John set him back. It's going to be fun to watch Kumar rock today. Let's roll. But there's Wham Bam 3000 in the house. Shout out to Wham Bam. Shout out to DJ Big Boss and the Who Bangin' family. So can you send a Sharpie the link? The Kumar Rocker game is game. It's a night game. Yes, it's that's the second last game of our card, just an 8-game card. Let's get to work. Jose, 1:10 p.m. Eastern. The Colorado Rockies 54-92, 22-55 on the road at the Detroit Tigers 75-71, 37-34 at home at Comerica Park in Detroit, Michigan. We'll start with the weather in Detroit. It's absolutely beautiful all week up here. We are very, very thankful for it because it's going to get very, very cold soon. Absolutely gorgeous today. Perfect weather for baseball. Perfect weather for anything. It is about 80 Fahrenheit at first pitch, sunny, 7 miles. Oh, that's the actual weather. Sorry. I didn't want the switch weather. My bad. I'm just so caught up in football, man. I just every waking second right now. 80 Fahrenheit, gets up to 83, 6.3 miles per hour left to right, slightly in, gets up to 7.2 miles per hour. We have Feltner. Oh, Ryan Felchner. I like him. Jose is one of those.
Is it because of the felching?
No. The felching is actually horrific. And
I still don't know what that is, honestly.
Oh, no, you'll have a great time Googling it. But the Felcher here, I think he's a good young pitcher. And he has some trouble in the thin air, but I like him. I talked about how much I liked him in the last start, and I didn't move on the under. And maybe I'm, late to the party, early to the funeral on this. I wanted to triple up on this game, but I can't. I can't. And so I was going to double up. So then what was the double going to be? First 5 or full game? Did I want to use an alternate line on the first 3 under? Because Feltner on the road's being very good. Now, overall in the year, 2-7, 3.99 ERA on the road, 239 points batting average. But of late, he's been very good. That was a great start at the Brewers. And Scooball at home has been unbelievable. 9-1, 2.18 ERA, 176 opponents batting average, allowed 6 jacks and 91 innings with 104 strikeouts. And to add to it, Rockies versus lefties, horrific. So these stats are all going to be from August 15th on. A 219, 587 OPS. The Tigers versus righties, 249, 706. Rockies bullpen, 4.01 ERA, 1.39 whip. And the Tigers bullpen, 2.01 ERA, 0.92 whip. Look, this might have been a better spot for the full game. I was sitting, I was going over and over which ones to use. And I used the first 3 and the first 5, Jose. And when I woke up this morning, the line hadn't moved for the first 3 and the first 5, but it had moved on the full game. The 7.5, which was minus 120 to the under, was now 7 and even money to the under. The first 5 now is minus 115 to the under. So there's been 10 cents of movement, but it was really late coming. The first 3 is now minus 155. So I beat that by 20 cents. But that went to minus 150 and then back to minus 145. In these instances, Jose, when the line hasn't moved until the morning on these spots, it has hurt me. And I'm nervous about this one. I'm very, very nervous. Obviously with my record in MLB being what it is, I have no right to be confident coming into this. And it's first 5 unders that have hurt me badly. And I think when I'm done the season and I look back and I break everything down like you did last year, I think I might try to cut first 5 unders. Scooball is minus 265, opened up minus 240. Now there's been a 5-cent move 11 minutes ago towards the Rockies, so it's now minus 260. 40 or 21 cents of movement from minus 239 to minus 260. And then on the total, we have the 7 as we spoke of. It's bouncing back and forth from 7 to 7.5. This opened up 7.5 minus 111 to the under. It took 4 hours for it to move 10 cents to the under. It hadn't moved to the under. I'm nervous about this. I'm nervous about this. And let's get the cash flow. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Tom. Tom's telling us that we shouldn't felch. Thank you for that.
Tom, could you please describe felching?
No, I don't think we need it. But it's up to you to. This is your study time. It's your study time at night. 95% of tickets, 95% of cash on the Tigers, and on the total, we have 95% tickets, 94% cash on the over. Chip Pilar on Detroit -1.5. Sharpie says Feltner may have issues today. Tigers very patient and he tries to paint corners. Can be a lot of walks. Yeah, it's 45 walks on the campaign. He's a little better on the road with that to walk ratio, and he walked 3 against Milwaukee. But I like him. Take it away, Jose Bouquet. I've doubled up on this spot. First 3 under 2.5. -135. First 5 under 4 at -105. Why would they have it as juice to the over in the 4? I'm very concerned. I imagine it's 3-2 after 5 innings and it ends 4-2 and all the under bettors full game cash, and I take it in the shorts. Take it away, Jose. Rockies, Tigers.
Yeah, I mean, I don't trust Feltner. I know the Rockies. The Tigers' offense isn't great. You mentioned their split 100 and I think it was 105 weighted runs created plus. Let me go back here real quick. So just not that good. 107 actually. So a little below above average. Feltner not very good as we know, but I just ultimately didn't move on this game. I leaned under because I was shocked at how low this total was to begin with, and it just felt like 5-0. Kind of game. I just don't think the Rockies score, honestly, off Skubal. Skubal dominates and does his thing. So no action yet on this game, or no action yet on this card, I should say, but no action in this game. Nice to see, by the way, new names in the chat here. Window Worthy, first timer in the chat. Nice to see you, Window Worthy. Welcome in.
Welcome, Window Worthy. Let's roll on to the next spot on the board. So that's my only action that I've already bet. So we're rolling into now additions. 1:15 p.m. Eastern. Cincinnati Reds 71-76. Well, in baseball, I told you I doubled up on the Wings, and I'm really looking forward to the college breakdowns to add action. I haven't moved on college yet this week. And the only bet I added, Jose, by the way, I did add week 3 NFL action. I'm not going to sit back here and have these totals. I want to beat all the total moves that I love, and the only ones I can have real confidence on are unders. So I moved on 2 unders in week 3 already, and then I moved on the over 47 was my 12th bet in NFL in Chiefs Bengals, and
you're on the over tonight, right?
I'm on the over tonight as well.
What number did you get on that? Because obviously it was 50 and now it's down to 48.5, which is very interesting.
Yeah, I saw a bunch of 49s. I got 48.5. I saw a bunch of 49s, 48.5 still Buffalo Dolphins. Look, I'm going up against this primetime under thing, and I, it's gone too far. It's just, look, I make money off it. We make money off of it. It's great. But I just with what we've seen from this Bills defense and what we're supposed to think, just because in that messed up game where Tyreek Hill and Calais Campbell are arrested or cuffed, I should say, outside of the stadium with all that drama going on, that the offense doesn't roll until Tua's halftime speech, that what this Dolphins offense isn't electric. I mean,
and it's not going to be able to run the ball. Obviously no Radio Raheem, A-Chain questionable already. So we'll see.
Well, Jeff Wilson Jr. can run the ball. They've always been able to be decent, or maybe average or close to average with backups in there, because you have to worry about the passing game so much. But we'll talk all about that. Shout out to our guy Dan Bonner in the house. Has been too long since I could tune in. So happy to see y'all thriving. Missed this incredible community. Had an insane week 1. Let's get some money today, Dan Bonner. Thank you for rocking with us. Thank you, man. Shout out to our guy Dan Bonner, blessing our action. Let's roll here, Jose. Reds, Cardinals. Reds 71-76, 35-37 on the road. Cardinals 73-72, 38-35 at home. We're at Busch Stadium in St. Louis, Missouri. Let's get into the weather here in St. Louis. 82 Fahrenheit, 5.4 miles per hour in. Gets up to 7.2. It's a beautiful day for baseball. Not too hot in St. Louis. We have Jacob Junis in. You know that I think he's a gas can, and the whole league does. And he gets passed around from team to team. And he's having a really good season. And we've seen it before. We saw him, when he was at Oracle for the Giants, pitched lights out at home. When you watch him pitch, it's very difficult because he looks terrible. But 4-0, 2.82 ERA, 0.92 whips. Those are incredible numbers. He's only walked 7 batters in 51 innings. His last start was a 4-0 loss at the Mets, but he went 5 innings and allowed 1 hit, 5 Ks, 1 walk. Now, on the road, he struggled more than, what he's looked like at home. I can't. On the road, 3-0, 3.55 ERA. He's walked 3 batters over 25 and a third. He pitches so soft. Sonny Gray, 12-9, 3.84 ERA, 1.09 whip. In his last start, 7 innings, 1 earned run, 7 Ks, 1 walk, 3-2 extra inning win at the Brewers. He's been very good to us. Now, it wasn't that start. It was a start before at home that we backed him together on the show. He's been very good to us at home. Reds are only hitting 252, 692 OPS versus righties since August 15th. The Cardinals, 267, 30. This Cardinals bullpen's been really strong since August 15th. 3.54 ERA, 1.12 whip, while the Reds bullpen, 5.10 ERA, 1.31 whip has been a real problem for them. Let's get into the line history. Of course, we're using Pinnacle line moves. This total opened up at 7.5, and it had a cup of coffee up at 8 at 8:47 this morning. It only lasted there for a minute, right back 7.5. Tells me the under is very live. There's been an 8-cent move on the under, but it did get up to 8 for a quick minute. On the money line here, there's been a huge move towards Eunice and the Reds. Huge. Open up plus 152 now, plus 136. The market does a lot of talking when we get Sonny Gray starts. So if we trust him at home, then we have to think the market's telling us that Eunice is going to have a good start, which would mean that the under would be in play. 70% of tickets, 69% cash on the over. And on the money line, we have 18% of tickets and 32% cash on the Reds. Wow. Take it away, Jose Bouquet. Floor is yours.
Yeah, I was looking at obviously Reds in the under here. Market kind of indicating that way. Market has not really done me many favors this week, so that's why I'm kind of hesitant to back the Reds sidewise. But I do like the under. I cashed from the under here yesterday, and I was thinking about going to the well here again. 3.5 first 5 is up to a 4 now. Is juiced already up to the over minus 125, so I'm not too concerned about that. But I'll stick with a full game under here. And Jimmy, I agree wholeheartedly with you when you say those first 5 totals for me. I mean, I have my updated, or I have the luxury now of seeing like what my records for each type of bet is during the season. First 5 totals, 33 and 46, down 20 units betting first 5 totals this year. Fucking disgusting. The closest, like next closest horrible type of action I have is first 5 run totals, first minus ones, excuse me. Minus ones. I only have 10 bets on the year, and I'm only down 4 units on those. The rest, I'm down 3 units on the year betting team totals. I'm down 2 units on the year first 5. And it's just
what are you crushing then? There must be angles that you're crushing.
I'm the money lines, I'm up 5 units. Full game totals, I'm up 6 units. And then I put parlays and props together for random things. So I have those things together, and I'm up 11 units on those, 24 and 27. So
you were saying that Bet Online, and I could just look on my own, but I've got Pinnacle's first 5 up. Pinnacle, there's been a 10-cent move to the under, and there's been 14 cents away from the over. You're saying on the first 5, you're saying Bet Online is a different story?
Yeah, first 5 opened up 3.5, and it was already juiced to the over minus 125, and that was last night around 4:30, and then this morning got up to 4 again. Went down to it was 4 minus 115, and went down to 4 minus 110, back up to 4 minus 115.
Daby Cab says it's because you take unders in the first 5. Unders are for full game. Overs are for first 5. I'm going to separate my action. I haven't done that yet, but I'm scared to.
Yeah, I'm just going to avoid all first 5 total bets. Over, under, just no thanks.
I get why that 3.5 to 4 is I guess expected. The 3 at minus 125, 3.5 minus 125. I mean, they're telling us it's going to be a really nice pitching matchup. Can you talk to us about the Reds and Cardinals bullpen?
And something else I've noticed, Jimmy, is when the line is moving towards these underdogs, they are going under at a pretty shocking rate. It just kind of feels like it's the market's way of saying that pitcher is going to pitch well, and it's something that I've been keeping semi track of. It's not like I've been like meticulously like, oh, this one moves under. It's just kind of something like a personal anecdotes. So I agree with an under here, and I think I might move on it. Bullpen's a little tired. Fernando Cruz, 24. Justin Wilson only threw 4 pitches yesterday, but threw 23 on Tuesday, so I don't think he'll be available. Buck Farmer also threw 24 pitches yesterday. Would be a little surprised if he went. Brent Suter, 7 and 6 back-to-back days pitching. Don't know exactly, and Alexis Diaz should be available. Threw back-to-back on Sunday and Monday. Has had 2 days off, so should be ready to go. Everyone else available there, but obviously the guy we want, Alexis Diaz, available.
These guys just want to get out of here. Reds head to Minnesota. Cardinals head up to Canada, play the Jays. I mean, I don't see why this isn't a full game under. It does make me a little nervous, but I don't just because of Junis, but it's the Reds bullpen that's the biggest concern. So are you saying that the Reds bullpen is in good shape?
I think, I know Alexis Diaz is going to be ready to pitch today, so the 9th inning is locked down. Obviously, the worry is getting there.
Yeah.
So that leaves us with Emilio Pagan, who can be hit or miss. He threw 24 yesterday or Tuesday, so I think he'll be available. Tony Santillan, Carson Spires, but he's more of a follower. So it's going to be a little worrisome, I will admit, but I'd still rather take the under here full game. Cardinals bullpen, by the way, pretty good as well.
And they've been running real nice, so I don't have concerns there. I'm good. I'm going to join you. And I need to bet this now because we're going to be in the throes of college football when this game pops off. But I'm going to join you on this one. So what are you moving on? Or are you still hemming?
No, I'm going to be on it, or I'm moving on it as we speak.
Under 7.5 at what?
Minus 119 for me.
All right, you got it. Under 7.5 minus 119 for Jose, and I'm going to be joining him right now. So let's roll into 2:10 p.m. action with the Oakland Athletics at the Houston Astros. I'm going to bet this Cardinals game. It's going to take me a second. I got to decide whether to send it in or put it at Pinnacle. So I'm going to do that. But we have Justin McKelvey. Justin McKelvey's stacks play today number 1 right here. It is Justin Tucker over 1.5 bases, and we need our guy Justin to heat. Oh, sorry, Kyle Tucker. Sorry, football's on my mind, man. Football is on my mind. We need our guy Justin to heat up. We know how hot he can get. He get double-digit winning streaks often, and this is the beginning of it. I feel it today. Mark my words. We come back here tomorrow, and Justin is heating up. Shout out to our guy Justin and the Stacks play today.
Stacks.
So Jose, take it away. I'm all ears. I'm just gonna get this action.
Yeah. So we've talked about Framber, and I think he is one of the very few pitchers in this league that get better as the innings build up, et cetera, et cetera. Obviously big time aces like Scherzer, Verlander, those were the type of guys like that as well. Framber right there, honestly. So I like Framber when we get up into these 200 innings, 150, 175. I think he's ready to go now. Shout out to you, UPK, for the $2 sticker there. We appreciate you, my guy. And I just don't think that it's wise to fade Framber Valdez at this portion of the season. Minus 250, believe we're at now. Here, 255. Excuse me. We have 93% of the bets, 86% of the money on the Astros. Kind of unsurprising there, from minus 230 to minus 250 at BetOnline. I just think Framber Valdez is a dog. No one really wants to fade him here. The A's Had a great game yesterday, kept it close. So now it feels like this is the time where Framber shuts him down. 86% of the bets, 69% of the money on the over in this game. Angels are, I don't know why I keep saying Angels. God damn. A's against lefties. Let's find out here. They are 20th, 79 weighted runs created plus against them. So I just don't think that they get anything off of them, honestly. I think Framber goes out there and dominates. And like I said, I think he's a pitcher that keeps getting better as the season goes on, as the innings wear on. He's at 157 right now, which is kind of light work for him. You know, he's been almost back-to-back 200 inning seasons last 2 years. He's gone 7 shutout, back-to-back starts. He didn't give up any hits and against the start against the Royals. I think he's just on cruise control, and it's scary to try to fade him here. So no action here for me. I'll say this. I'll just say this. I would never bet a minus 250 or whatever. So if I had to make a bet in this game, value-wise, I'll take the A's. But I don't think it's wise. I don't think it's wise because Framber Valdez is really good right now. So what do you think, Jimmy?
Well, thank you for shouting out our guy, UPK Ayash Yala, our guy, Mr. Cherry in the house. Thank you for that dono, blessing our action. Skunt Blaster with the 2-pack Skunt bag play today.
Wow. Jesus. Jesus, Skunt.
Nice. Got a nice ring to it. Play today. James Cook, anytime touchdown, and Texas State at even money. A lot of back and forth on that Texas State spot. We'll be breaking it down. Bob Muffler says, any concern with the Astros not beating a team in 24 games that's over 500? Saw that stat last night as I was leaving the game. Heartbreaking. I didn't know that was in play.
That's very interesting. I'll say this, Bobby, and I like your name, Bob Mufflers.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about it in the regular season, but when the postseason comes, fade. So I don't know. I've been on the anti-Astros train kind of all year. They've shoved it up my ass in the last 3 months, so I've been pretty quiet. But I don't know, man. I just don't ultimately still trust this Astros team. Framber Valdez is great, and then game 2, Ronel Blanco, fuck out of here.
Well, we don't need to worry about the over 500 stat here against these A's or 18 games under. As you've been talking about, Valdez is the man. Thank you, Bob Mufflers. Love running with you, man. Love the insights. Love it. Sharpie says we can judge the Astros without Tucker, who is back. Gotta stay focused on the razor. Mitch Spence, though. Mitch Spence is the guy here. He's been so bad on the road this year. 3-4, 5.09 ERA, 261 opponent's batting average. I guess we should just take a quick look at the batter versus pitcher because I wonder, is this a -1.5 spot? With the Astros needing to win this game. I know it's the Mariners aren't putting fear into anybody, but they're not far away. A quick winning streak for the Mariners could, flip the switch in that division pretty quick. And you know how important it is to Daby Cab and a bunch of us that the Astros win the division. Let's take a look at the batter versus pitcher against Spence. He's not, he's only seen him for 7 at-bats. I think that concerns me enough. I don't want to back, Spence, but I think it does concern me enough. And by backing him, I would mean betting the under. This has gone from 8 to 8.5. And then, I get your call on the money line just being too expensive, -262, opening up at -227. I guess that -1.5 should have been bet a long time ago. Let's just see what the -1.5, how fast is. Do you have no -1.5, -129 at Penny? Opened up -102. I mean, you could have got that at even money. You could have got that at midnight at -1. I cannot take that at -125. I can't play the ass end of the line quite to that extent. So I'm going to stay off of it. But the A's aren't hitting lefties at all. 227, 620 OPS since August 15th. And the Astros are still hitting righties, 278, 762 OPS. Did you have any interest in that -1.5? Did you think?
No, no, I did not. No, and I'll go back to my record this year. -1 run lines, 3-7. So
we have a Nerfy for Lex Steele, and then our guy Lex Steele also liking Feltner to go 6 1/3 to 7 innings, which would be very important.
Good luck.
Very important. Mally Mal says that was was minus 116 last night. I think he's talking about this minus 1.5, and he is. Yeah, amazing how much money left on the board. Okay, you know what? I'm off of this, unfortunately, but I feel like I could be leaving money on the table. But Londo is on the A's money line, so I'm not going to be on the other side of our guy Londo in the house. So let's roll on. Oh, and Londo saying with you on the over 48.5 tonight. Also on Bill's money lines. Have a big night. Can't wait to rock with everybody. Can't wait for Elio to make his Pub Sports Radio debut. Old Buck Knife.
Yep, great guy. Took me to my first legitimate horse track. Great guy, Elio. Shout out to Elio. I might pop in just to say hello to Elio.
As you should. As you should. We roll on 6:45 p.m. Eastern, and we have Ron Crawford with the spreadsheet dog play of the day. Our guy, Ron Crawford, he is on the fish. And Darren McCacken, who is on the hill, 28-year-old journeyman, 12th round pick. Nobody for us to fear. But I can understand after that decent performance at home versus the Phillies why he thinks the fish are live as a dog. And shout out to our guy, Ron Crawford. We're at Nationals Park in Washington, D.C., where these Nats are 33-38 at home. Fish are 26-45 on the road. McCacken going up against Mitchell Parker. Let's get into the weather to get things started here in Washington. 79 Fahrenheit, 6.3 miles per hour right to left across the diamond. Gets up to 4.5. Let's get over to the Jets been pretty funny today. Trying to stay focused here, but they've been pretty good. Pretty strong start. And maybe it's also I'm just really happy to be back with you guys.
Yeah, it's like you take a day off for the chat and everything gets you.
Yeah, look, I love the opportunity to be here with you guys. And these triples on Wednesday or Thursday, are actually really fun. Like I'm excited about the Cappers Contest show, and I'm excited about the live stream. Washington minus 162, 8-cent move towards the Nats to minus 170, and we get to the total here in this one. We have an 8.5 minus 115 to the over. This opened up at 9, went down to 8.5, back up to 9, now at 8.5. So we have from move to the over and a move towards these Nationals. Let's get to the cash flow here for this one. We have 89% of tickets, 92% of cash on the Nationals. That seems a little much. 82% of tickets and 81% cash on the over. So McCacken, let's talk about old McCacken.
Shocking that his name is McCacken and not McCacken.
I stopped saying it when I found out it was McCacken. I threw my McCacken into my wife last night as well. I couldn't stop. It was just everything was McCacken this, McCacken that. How does my McCacken feel here? What if I place it there? Let's talk about McCacken. He was traded. So he spent most of this year with Cleveland and with Columbus.
Someone traded my McCacken?
Yes. Somebody traded McCacken, 5.06 ERA, 1.28 whip. And that was with Columbus. Then he went over to Jacksonville, and he had 11 starts in Jacksonville, 53 and 2/3. I mean, it's taken a while for this journeyman out of Cal State to get a chance here. 12th round pick. I don't have a lot of high hopes for him, but I tell you what, Boogie Main in the house. I tell you what, it's something when the opposition hasn't seen you. It's something. And Mitchell Parker has been good. Last start hasn't been good. On the road, he's been unbackable. But at home, 5-4 with a 3.04 ERA, 236 opponents batting average. Marlins aren't hitting lefties, 228, 641 OPS. I think the amount of cash on the Nationals is ridiculous. So I guess nothing appeals to me, but I understand Ron Crawford's dog spot, and I thought that I might have interest in Mitchell Parker and the Nats, but that's going away. Take it away here for us. Wager Detective and Clark Edge meeting at the Tropicana at Atlantic City right now. I love seeing that. Jerry Davis says Ron Crawford hooked me up with a Samsung winner today, but he says, but got to fade him on the fish in this spot on Nats and the under. There's nothing wrong with that, Jerry. There's nothing wrong. When you have the conviction to go up against the capper you respect, at least for me, my ROI is as high as it gets. But you have to have the conviction to really believe in it. Take it away, Jose. Marlins Nats.
Yeah, so Darren McCacken, here. Honestly, that sounds like a name that should have been in Slapshot. Darren McCacken definitely should have come out at the end.
Speaking of that, when I typed in Darren McCacken at first, I went to Darren McCarty. And what happened when Darren McCarty came up was they said Darren McCarty, a professional wrestler.
Oh,
I was, unfortunately, there's a clip I saw of Darren McCarty in Detroit at that gold and jewelry place where they have the show. God, I can't remember the name of the show. And they're trying to get $2,000 for a crocodile carpet.
sure.
Oh no, my heart broke, man. You could see the CTE. You could see that he needed to, get a little more of the, of the old whitey. And I was like, oh God, like it just broke my heart to see McCarty like that. Trying to get $2,000 for a fucking crocodile carpet so he could get another fucking. Okay. Let's go back to McCacken.
Yeah. So shout out to Darren McCacken.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think all the money is on, or I think it's ridiculous that all the money is on the Nationals. I easily could see the Marlins being a live dog here. I just don't want to back it here. And yeah, work right. I don't know who Darren McCarthy is, but
McCarty.
I was gonna shake my head and pretend like I did
Man.
though.
I can't believe Jose or the new Quaker saw right through that. I believe that you were like actually with me and your heart felt bad for McCarty. And
Yeah, I didn't know who that human was, unfortunately. It sucks. CT is a hell of a fucking disease,
oh God.
Yeah, sorry, Nuke. You didn't have to call me out like that, Nuke. I had him.
No, you did have me. Why am I even? So I guess I just don't. If it's hockey, I just don't mention it to you.
You could mention it. I'll continue to pretend like I know what you're talking about.
Let's go back to the fucking Marlins. That sucks.
I have no action in this game. I'll continue to say up until next year. I think the Nationals next year will be a good team, bet on team, but no action for me here to keep it short.
Kelly McKiss says hardcore pawn. Yeah, it's that. I love Detroit. I don't watch that show, but it made me sad to see McCarty in that state. Let's roll on. I don't find that interesting here. That game, I don't find an angle. Like, look, if it wasn't everybody thinking that McCacken was going to look terrible and Parker was the guy, maybe I move on the Nats, but that's not the case here, and they're too expensive. Too expensive for a team that's 5 games under 500 at home. 7:15 p.m. Eastern, we have Boston Red Sox 74-72, 39-32 on the road at New York Yankees 84-62, 39-32 at home. We're at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. If you told me, Jose, that Yankees were 39-32 at home, I'd say, have I already cashed my Orioles division? That what happened in extras last night was, not enjoyable to watch. Yankees win, Orioles lose now a game and a half back. Yeah. We have Cooper Criswell, and there's the Sweaty Butcher in the house. Wasn't it great having him rock with us?
I wish we could have been in a better mood, Sweaty, but it was.
I was like, wait, where'd Sweaty Butcher go? I guess.
Yeah, I wish we were in a better mood, Sweaty, but it was nice seeing you, and it's nice having a partner in suffering. But the Jets are still going to win that division this year. I'm still.
You got to feel confident after that.
Yeah.
Red Sox, Yankees, Yankee Stadium in the Bronx, 73 Fahrenheit, 6.3 miles per hour right to left, dies down to 4.5 miles per hour. Let's get into the line history here for this one. This is a big game. This is a big, big game. The Red Sox have the opportunity to play spoiler, and that means something, when you're going up against the Yankees. Maybe it doesn't against other teams, but against the Yankees it does. This total opened up at 9, dropped down to 8.5, and got back up to 9. It's minus 118 to the under. So we have had 5 cents of movement towards that under. On the money line, we have the Yankees at minus 180. They opened up at minus 155. 25-cent market move towards the Bronx Bombers. Wow, that is a monstrous market move towards them. We have 98% of tickets and 99% of cash on the over. 98.99, Jose. 5-cent move to the under. Obviously, that's going to appeal to us. On the money line, we have 86% tickets, 83% cash on the Yankees, and it's gone heavily in their direction. Wow. So maybe is it that Nestor Cortez is going to shove against a Red Sox team that's hitting lefties the way you predicted early in the year? Now, there was a time where they were raking against lefties, but not right now. 232, 647 OPS. Yankees versus righties, 236, 695 OPS. A lot to talk about the Bills-Dolphins game. I'd love to see it. We're going to be hammering it with Bobano here shortly. Red Sox bullpen 5.77 ERA, 1.49 WHIP. It's just been a huge problem for them. Yankees bullpen 3.84 ERA, 1.15 WHIP. Let's talk about Nestor coming off pitching 4 1/3 in a 2-0 win at the Cubs. At home, 5-5, 3.19 ERA, 232 opponents batting average. Quite a bit better at home than he's been on the road this year. Yankees aren't hitting righties and Red Sox aren't hitting lefties. LJ says Yankees are 11-4 first game of the series since the break. So take it away for us. There's Talk Sports with JT in the house. Great to see you. Take it away for us here, Jose. Red Sox versus Yankees.
Yeah, so it's obviously a little difficult for me to try to be objective in these games. Nestor Cortez I don't know, or don't remember when he got called back up. Maybe he got called back up for this game, but he got sent down. Was a whiny little bitch. So he's just a little whiny bitch. And
sorry, could you perform that once more?
So bad. Oh my god, I need a pre-arbitration. I'm a little whiny bitch and I'm a fat ass. Yeah, so he complained when he got sent down. I'm sure there's a lot of motivation for him here. We're gonna find out a lot of what Nestor Cortez is made of. Because again, he whined like a little bitch when they sent him down. He's like, "Oh, I was the opening day starter. I can't believe they sent me down," and all this stuff. So honestly, yeah, I do expect Nestor to pitch well. But here's the thing. The Yankees' offense has not been good. It's just Aaron Judge and Juan Soto. It remains such. So if Cooper Criswell can find a way to get past them, I do agree this is an under kind of game here. And I want to bet unders. And I mean, the only reason I'm obviously not on the Red Sox here, aside from that line movement, is because it's against the lefties. So I've said all year, like you mentioned, the Red Sox against lefties, just not good. Just simply not good. Why did I know this? Because they had one job this year, sign right-handed bats, because everyone in our lineup is left-handed. They signed Tyler O'Neill, who indeed kills lefties, but that's just one bat, unfortunately. One bat. So it was not enough. It continues to not be enough. And I do not love the Red Sox, after a walk-off win like that last night. God bless them. I had them last night, and I really fucking needed that win as well. So I very much appreciate that. But I forget who said this to me the other day, but they mentioned it's just like the Red Sox have not shown the ability to put together multiple good games in a row. Like they just have not been able to do that. And I just don't know if I can believe them doing it here. So I fully agreed. I think Nestor shoves. I'm obviously more concerned about, can Cooper Criswell get through this Yankees lineup? Can the Red Sox bullpen pull it together? Can the Yankees bullpen hold it together? Because their bullpen's not very good, as I've said many times.
But do you think that you've seen them? I mean, their numbers imply they've been quite a bit better since August 15th.
Yeah, but they don't have a closer. That's if you don't have a closer, you don't have a bullpen. They throw Claims Holmes back there, and if it is against any quality opponent, you see the shit stains down his leg. So I just think that this is an under game right now. So I don't know if I'll move on it yet. I'm trying to look up as I speak Nestor Cortez versus the Red Sox to see, because I'm sure he shoved it up their ass again here. But under lean for me, but nothing yet so far. I'll let you know here soon.
I'm going to be on both. Look, the Yankees move this drastic in the marketplace. I'm going to, you could say, I wanted to back Cortez at home before the market indicated it was right. But, but I wasn't that guy. It's the market that's showing me that the Yankees are going to take care of business. And I like the under with everybody on the over in a playoff type feel tonight. And the 9 is a nice number to get. So I'm going to move on both the Yankees -1 and the under. And Sharpie, adamant about the home road splits for Cortez. It says check Cortez at home versus Red Sox, not on the road. And I think that's really valid. Robert Cherry on the Yankees first five under 4.5. That's the hold my nuts play of the day. Let's copy
Okay,
that.
I finally got it up. By the way, so yes. Well, I won't even mention his road starts. Six innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 6 shutout innings, 5 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run. Oh, that's on the road. Sorry, but that's still a good start. And that last one was in 2024 and in 2022. So the one we really care about: 6 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run. It was still in a 3-5 loss in extras, which is kind of hilarious. But maybe I consider a first 5 under here, honestly. And again, I need to just avoid first 5 totals altogether, but I don't hate a first 5 under here as well. But I'll continue to hum and haw over this quietly.
It's hem and haw if you want to use a proper,
What is hemming?
The English language. It's not about asking why. It's about understanding that it is, and you want to sound as intelligent as possible. That's why champing is the correct term, not chomping. You don't, if just because humming makes sense to you doesn't mean it works in that.
I mean,
okay. Humming. Is that what you're doing? You're humming?
Humming and hawing, yeah. I don't know.
All right.
See? That makes sense in my head, guys.
Look, it's totally up to you. See, saturated understands English literature. All right. Okay, I got to get these bets in. So I'm going to take the Yankees -1 and the under 9 here. But let's bring on and set up our next game. Shout out to UPK Yashala, also on the Pamper Pop play of the day of Valdez over 5.5 Ks. Let's copy and paste this. I'm going to lock my action in. And shout out to our guy UPK Yashala, $2 dono, blessing our action and giving us angle.
That this moved from a 9 or 8.5 to 9.
No. See, this opened up at penny at 9, and again, let's just go over that market move once more here. So I want to see what it is at Bet Online here, so we can keep this Yankees up here. So we have it right now 9 -127. This opened up at 8.5 at 2:41 p.m. But 9:14 p.m. This was a 9. I mean, do we want? I respect that this opened up at 8.5 with limits.
But I think I agree with you. After the walk off and everything, I think those odds change. And I think that those odds are obviously affected by bullpen usage because Yankees going extra, etc.
Yes, that's true. And this opened up as soon as the limits were pulled from Bet Online. So this opens up under 9 at -113. And, within 2 hours, it moves to 8.5. I respect that move. I respect this move. I hope this closes at 8.5. If it closes at 9.5, I'll be really, really uncomfortable. But let's roll on here. I don't know. Nasty Nate. If you hum while you are thinking over a bet, I hope it's some gangster ass shit you're humming. Are you a hummer? Let's move on. Let's move on to the next spot on the board. Rays, Guardians, and bring on the star of Medicate Mondays and tailgating on Saturdays. Our big Saturday show, the Tailgate, and our live stream that comes right after it. Please welcome from Dallas, Texas, our guy, Mr. Dabra Cadabra. Daby Cab, how are you, my friend?
Well, I'm good. And now that after a whole season of being stuck on -7 units at this show, I'm finally at -6 units. Now we can move forward and get into the green.
You're not far away. One hot streak and you are right there.
I'm telling you, I've been at -7 units all season.
You are right there, my friend. I'm going to let Jose set up this Pepio Gavin Williams start. We've already heard that our guy Sharpie is on that Gavin Williams prop on the over.
On his strikeouts?
Thank you, J-Dub. Thank you, J-Dub. That is just perfect. I needed J-Dub. There's another, English literature savant right there. That is beautifully put, J-Dub. Thank you.
Interesting. J-Dub, can I get the origin of that as well? While we're there, I'd love to know the origin of that.
Jose, I want to get my action in on this Yankees Red Sox spot. And you know what? I've made the decision. If I don't feel like I'm forced to get the action in now to beat a line move, I don't want to bet in baseball. Like if I'm like, oh, it's okay, I can put it. When I've looked at those spots, my ROI is negative. When I'm like, no, I've got to put it in, it's, take it away, Jose.
Yeah. By the way, quick aside, this is purely all my personal feelings here, Wager Detective. But if you keep talking about Texas State in the chat, I'm going to lawn dart myself through a window, Wager Detective.
Wow. And we're going to discuss why that is, too.
Does it make you a little bit mad that this fucking middle of San Marcos shit school is going to be a better football powerhouse than UTSA going forward in the
All right, we move on. We move on. Fucking cunt this guy is. I want them to play in a real conference first. Wager, I love you, Wager Detective, but if you keep mentioning, they're gonna make the playoffs, they're gonna beat Arizona State, I'm gonna start getting annoyed, Wager Detective. I'm gonna start getting annoyed. But I respect and love you still. Gavin Williams, Ryan Pepio here. And I haven't slept much either, so maybe that's why I'm on edge, Wager Detective. Maybe that's why. Again, this is all personal things here for me. But Pepio, we all know him by now. Solid pitcher on the Dodgers. Well, he's solid pitcher on the Rays now. Was okay on the Dodgers. The Rays do their, genie magic on him, turn him into a better pitcher. Last time out against the Orioles, 5 innings, 6 hits, 1 earned run on a home run, 4 Ks, 2 walks. Before then, against the Padres, he struggles a bit. 3 innings, 4 hits, 3 earned runs. Seattle, against a bad Seattle offense, 6 innings, 7 hits, 5 runs, only 2 of them earned there for Pepio. Just a quick home road splits glance for Pepio. Pretty similar. Home 3.97 to a road 3.23. Just need to check those every once in a while because we do love a pitcher with ridiculous home road splits against Gavin Williams, who admittedly thought he should have a better year than he does. His last outing, disastrous. 2 3/4 of an inning, 2 hits, 5 earned runs, 3 walks, no strikeouts at the Dodgers. Terrible. That was on the 7th. So quick turnaround here as well. Probably wants to right that wrong, I'll tell you that. Before then, 7 innings, 1 hit, 1 earned run, 5 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, and a back-to-back against the Royals. So pretty impressive. Then he gets crushed against the Dodgers. Again, 3-8 this season. Don't think that tells the full story of how good he's been. He's a 5.2 ERA, but a 3.79 FIP. So I think that there's better innings to come here for our guy, Gavin Williams. Market in this game, let's talk about it. 84% of the bets and 77% of the money on the Guardians here. I'm not going to lie. Every other day, it seems like for me, I'm close to betting the Rays. I don't know what it is. It opens up at minus 138 for them here, goes down to minus 135, minus 134, and climbs up to minus 142 now. With all that money on the Guardians, again, you kind of expect more line movement in their direction from a 38 to now to a minus 142. And totals wise here, we have, I'm shocked to read this. I feel like we haven't seen this in a decade now. 71% of the bets and 66% of the money on the under. That has not happened in seemingly forever that an under is being bet more than an over in this game. So that is shocking to read, honestly. We go from a 7.5 minus 105 to the over. We're now at minus 113 to the over at Bet Online here. It's funny enough, this even got up to an 8 at one point this morning here as well. I would actually call it last night. It got up to the 8 at 1:30-ish, lasted there till about 7 a.m., 8 a.m.-ish, and then it goes right back down to 7.5.
To add to that, Jose, I don't mean to interrupt, but this actually got up to even an 8.5 at penny at 1:30 in the morning, and was there for not long, but 5 or 6 minutes. It was bouncing back and forth. You could have gotten under 8.5 at minus 109. So this did hit an 8.5 at 1.2, but keep rolling, my man. Great job.
Yeah, that's interesting. So I sit here and we don't see a lot of bets and money on the under on any games in baseball. I kind of want to bet the under in this one. Truthfully, we've seen this crazy line movement, but I have no action on it so far. Daby Cab, I'm very interested to hear your best bet in this one.
So the money and the bets are on the under and the line's moving to the over, and now you want to bet the under?
It's back to the under. The line's gone back to the under.
Yeah, it moved up. It got up to 8, got up to 8.5, and then plummeted right back down to 7.5.
Okay, gotcha. The Rays are terrible at the plate, right? 231 on the season. That's 4th worst in all of baseball. They're not better on the road, 234. I guess they're three points better on the road. And since the All-Star break, I mean, just fucking horrific. They're hitting 220 since the All-Star break. So just not a team that I trust to hit, any of them. I don't trust any of these guys. Looking at these pitchers, you kind of touched on it. Williams' numbers suggest that he should be having a better season. Sitting at 3-8 with a 5.25 ERA in the 13 games he's thrown. It's just, it's an anomaly for me with him because I really thought he was one of the guys that I thought was going to, have close to a 3 ERA on the season, maybe. His last start against the Dodgers on September 7th gave up 5 runs, 2 hits, 3 walks. Cleveland's lost 4 of Williams' last 5 starts coming into this game. So he's not somebody that the team's been getting behind. During home games this year, Williams has a 7.54 ERA. And since the All-Star break, he has a 5.72 ERA. So just numbers that are not trending in the right direction. But what I do like in this spot is, the Guardians are 4 games in first place right now. So they got to keep playing. They're going to give their best effort on the field. Right now, it's an important thing to look for in the baseball season. So I think they put up some runs, even though Pepe shut them down. I think 6 innings. I don't have it in front of me last game. He did shut him down. So I expect him to go out there and, maybe give 4 or 5 solid innings. But all that being said, I think sitting at 4 on the first 5 total, it's just a number that I like. So I took the first 5 over 4.
First 5 over 4. Did you tweet it out or can I line shop?
No, you can line shop.
I will do just that. I find this a pretty coin flippy situation. I really like Pepio. The market's indicating Williams going to have a great start. I don't really want to go up against Pepio. And I'm uncomfortable with going up 8.5 down to 7.5. I feel like I've got enough action at this point. And it's coin flippy. If this had never gone up to 8.5, I'd probably be on the under in this with the idea that Williams pitches well. If Cab wasn't, believing in the first 5 over, I would look at that first 5 under, but not involved. We're going to football very soon. Gordon Nkowski in 10 minutes. We'll be on football. Jose Bouquet, are you moving on this?
No, I'm not. But admittedly, when you say it's coin flippy and we're getting a plus 130 on the Rays, it makes me want to bet the Rays. So no action for me here, but I lean Rays and I lean under here. So and that's kind of typically what I would have realized in the baseball season. If I like the dog, I typically like it going under.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
We get a first 5 over 4 at minus 115 for Daby Cab. We're going 4-headed for our next spot. We welcome the star of the Odds Bunch YouTube channel, destroying MLB this month, 21-9, with his infamous Black Book. And Bryce Miller's in that Black Book. I wonder what he has to say about Kumar Rocker, who may end up being in the Black Book. Please welcome our friend Sharpie to the show. Sharpie, how are you, my man?
Man, it's been a good day. Can't complain. Been a great month. Man, the hooks are got me, bro. I mean, 4 of them losses are by the hook, bro. So it's just like I'm on them cheeks right now.
I love to hear it, my friend. Let's get to work, Sharpie. We're at T-Mobile Park in Seattle, Washington. These Rangers, 6 games under 500, 13 games under 500 on the road. Mariners have been good at home, 13 games over 500, 42-29. And Bryce Miller has been excellent at home, coming off a nice road start as well. 6 innings, 3 hits, no earned runs at the Cardinals. At home, 6-3, 2.03 ERA, 180 opponent's batting average, allowed just 5 home runs over 84 in the third with 96 Ks and 18 walks. I mean, those are beautiful numbers. And we have Kumar Rocker, and that is why our guy Sharpie is here. Kumar Rocker, a Vandy teammate of Jack Leiter Jr., third overall pick in the 2022 draft. That was the third time that Rocker has been drafted. Didn't sign out of high school in 2018. Then he went 10th overall to the Mets after a career at Vanderbilt, and he didn't sign. There was real concerns about his elbow. They turned out to be true. He underwent Tommy John surgery in 2023, and he returned to game action late in July in 2023, and looked very, very, very good. Opposing batters hit 180 off of him, and he's got a high 90s fastball. High 90s fastball, can hit 100, and it's the slider that they all talk about, mid 80s here. And at AAA, this slider, 31 swings he induced, 23 of them were hit nothing. No foul, nothing at all. And we'll hear more about it from our guy Sharpie in this breakdown. So we have Kumar Rocker's MLB debut going up against Bryce Miller. Rangers are hitting 253 with a 686 OPS versus righties since August 15th. Mariners just 241, 717. I say just, but that's quite a bit better than it has been. Both bullpens have been pretty good. Rangers 3.66 ERA, 1.27 WHIP, and the Mariners 3.44 ERA, 1.09 WHIP. Let's get into the line history of this one. I have the first five up, so we'll just touch on that right off the hop. This first five is a 3.5. It opened up at 4 and dropped to 3.5. Now it was a pretty juiced 4, up to minus 119. But wasn't always that juiced. It was a minus 114 to the under at one point. But now it's at 3.5. This 3.5, when it first moved there, it was a plus 106. Got down to minus 102. Now it's plus 102. But a clear move. I mean, that's a big move on the first five, Ledger. For a full game total, this is a 7 minus 115 to the under. This opened up at 7. It went up to 7.5. It went down to 6.5. Excuse me. God, I thought it went up to 7.5. It never went up to 7.5. Went down to 6.5. It wasn't a fully legit 6.5. It was minus 120 to the over, but there's been 9 cents of movement on the 7, if we want to just talk about 7 to the under. And on the money line, we have Seattle minus 136. So we have another giant move towards Rocker, plus 140 to plus 25. We didn't see this with Leiter, this huge market move towards the pitcher in their home, in their debut. So we have seen that here. In Seattle, we have 65 Fahrenheit. Roof will be open then, 2.7 miles per hour out. So it's a beautiful night for baseball. And then when we get to the cash flow for this one, we have 87% of tickets and 85% of cash on the Mariners, and this line's moving towards the Rangers. I mean, this is very telling. It's just, do you have the confidence to bet against a pitcher for Mariners in Bryce Miller who's just been delivering? 71% ticket, 76% on the over, and this is dropped 6.5 for a cup of coffee. This is a fascinating game, fascinating breakdown. Take it away for our Sharpie. Rangers Mariners.
Yeah, Rangers Mariners, guys. I haven't gotten the Miller all the way yet, but he's definitely someone I'm looking to back today. But my stat cast is down, and I have to go batter by batter, and haven't gotten to him yet. But Rocker tweeted him out first thing in the morning, guys. So you can't even bet the numbers that's there anymore. And I will tell you, you can never bet a 5.5 strikeouts on a kid. That's where he's pretty much at, or you got to bet like super juice. So if you want to bet him, pull him down. And what I mean, guys, is this kid hasn't pitched more than 5 innings in any minor league game. He hasn't thrown more than 72 pitches in a game. So I will never ask a guy to get more than 1 strikeout per inning on a pitch count, or even a kid to have more than 5, because they didn't even put Yuri Perez at a 5.5, guys. So when they put that Angels kid the other day, Dana, at a 5.5, laughed at that shit. You just got to understand what numbers should come out on a kid and then jump and pounce on him if you believe in that kid. And I believe in this kid, guys. The Texas Rangers have enough starting pitching to not call up freaking Rocker. This is not a emergency call up. This is not a, we need someone to fill in. This was a scheduled start for the kid, for him to show that he can start next year in the starting rotation, guys. He has about 14, 15 innings left in the tank. Like I said, he's not going to go more than 5 innings, 2 to 3 starts coming out of this kid. And it all has to do with, are you going to be part of our rotation next year? And is he going to be part of the rotation? Well, you brought him up versus the right fucking team, the Seattle Mariners, guys. If you could pick a team besides the Rockies and the Rays, I guess, if you want to go at it right now with the Rays, since they've had the trade deadline, these teams have terrible zone contact. They chase out their fucking mind, and they can't make contact when they chase. So this comes into a matchup with the kid who's in 29.2 innings this year in the minor leagues, has 47 strikeouts and 4 walks. And when we go to his prospect grading report, which came out in 2022, 2022 was his scouting report, guys. His fastball graded out as a 60. His curveball's a 60. His slider's a 70. His changeup control overall, all above league average. And now he's coming back off of Tommy John in the best shape he's ever been in his fucking life. This kid has been doing nothing but working out and getting ready, averaging 98.5 miles per hour on his fastball. His control was rated at a 50. He's got 4 fucking walks in 29 innings. I bet you it would be graded out a lot better is what I'm getting at. So Seattle Mariners is a minor league lineup. And this is a soon-to-be frontline starter of the Texas Rangers. So 4.5 strikeouts. I was on that super early in the morning. If I was to back him, it'd be first 5. He's not going more than 5 innings. So that's what I got on him.
And J-Dub letting us know Rocker's dad's the Titans D-line coach, a foundational American black dad, ex-NFL player. Yup, I'm on Kumar, says J-Dub.
Kumar also will be the first Indian-born person, I believe, to start a game as a pitcher. I mean, cool. The only knock on him is he's on the road. I like my rookies to be at home, but Bryce Miller's a stud, and it shouldn't be a long inning. What I like my guy is to come straight from warm-ups to the mound. Let's go. Rocker, though, is pitched for Vanderbilt. He's pitched in the world baseball. He's pitched in the college baseball championship games. I don't think he's getting the butterflies sitting there watching Miller. I think he's going to be chomping at the bit.
And what was your move exactly on Rocker?
I have him over 4.5 strikeouts, minus 130.
4.5. Okay, it's minus 130, and he's moved up to 5.5 now.
Minus 160 and then 5.5. But dude, like I said, he's only going 5 innings. I wouldn't bet fucking Scooble on a 5.5. I wouldn't bet Crochet on a 5. I won't ask anybody to go more than 1 per inning if they're on a pitch count. That's just my rule.
We have a great breakdown from our guy, Sharpie. Sorry, Sharpie, did I cut you off there?
No. I was just saying, and 75 pitches, about 14, 15 pitches per innings is the minimum, is the average, I mean. So that's projected 5 innings. And all I'm asking is 1 per inning with a team that struggles. Every person in this lineup struggles versus the slider, which is his highest graded pitch. Every person in this team, except for Turner, struggles versus a fastball. This just adds up for this is the right spot to bring in this kid. And he's only going 5, and he may have 1 if 2 more starts after this. And yeah, let's go. But they also know, I think they piggyback him with another starter. Because DeGrom's also starting Friday, and he's not going more than 4 or 5 innings. He's also hasn't been worked out. So they have enough pitching, like I said. They didn't have to call him up. This is hey, we believe you're good enough. Here's your opportunity, and here's the Seattle Mariners.
So I was listening to him talk about him on the radio yesterday, and it's 100%. It's a start for next year, like Sharpie said. That's 100% what this is. They want to see what he can do. They want to give him an opportunity. And this is a non-pressure situation, right? They're not fighting for the playoffs or anything like that. This is exactly the start that you want if you're going to get a start in the big leagues. So I agree with all that.
And what is your best bet here in this one, Cap?
So, you look at Miller, just off the charts how good he's been pitching. He's given up 3 or fewer runs in 6 straight outings. In that time, he's had a 1.56 ERA, a 0.78 WHIP, 38 strikeouts to only 8 walks, and that's in 34 and 2/3 innings. That is a very strong stretch, to say the least. But he gets hit against the Rangers. I remember the first time he pitched against the Rangers last year. I was on the Rangers, and I've been on it since then. He's 0-3 with a 12.66 ERA. And 9 strikeouts in 3 appearances against the Rangers. First one was, back in 23. Then he had another one in 2023, but then he had to start this year Also, going back just a few months ago, he went 4 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned runs. So it was better, but still got these lefties, whether you're talking about Lowe, I know Seager's not in the lineup right now, but Lowe, Seager, Josh Smith. I think these lefties just hunt fastballs and they're able to get to Miller. I also don't think that either pitcher, I mean, I guess Miller could easily go 5 innings, but like Sharpie said, we're not getting 5 from the other side. It'll be 4, maybe 5 innings. And this first 5, Jimmy, the total, I took the over 3.5. So I took the over 3.5 here just because, I think if Rocker has 4 innings, gives up 1 or 2 runs, that's great. 5 innings, gives up 2 runs, that's great. I think the Rangers can get me 2 or 3 off Miller also. They've shown that they can. And you're only hanging this first 5 total at 3.5. So I took the first 5 over 3.5. I also got Nate Lowe over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs at plus 125. If you look at Lowe's numbers, just his last 10 games, he's hitting 357. Just outstanding. And he's walking at a 21.1% rate. So he's seeing the baseball. So I think plus 125 for something like that is beautiful. I also might take Josh Smith over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs at plus 110. I like the value on these right now.
Yeah, Raymond, we hit it pretty hard. I'll go over it in a second, my man. So Nate Lowe first, what was the juice on it?
Plus 125.
Plus 125. And Josh Smith over 1.5. Was this a might or is this go?
Tell you what, go ahead and put it in there. For my first bet today, Jimmy, I need to line shop because I have not put my first bet in on that Rays game.
We can get you a minus 110. Oh, on the Rays. Sorry. We can get you minus 110 on this one.
For the over?
Over 3.5 minus 110, yeah.
Cool. Perfect.
Lowe has really good zone contact and chase contact, which are 2 things that I run from when I'm looking at Miller's K-prop when I go through lineup by lineup. The other guy who sticks out is Heim. He ain't going to strike out. He swings in the zone. He has elite zone contact and elite chase contact. So he may be another guy to look for today. Those are 2 guys who are not going to strike out to freaking Miller tonight.
And it's going to be plus money. The value on these hits, runs, RBIs right now is crazy. Here, let me look at Jonah Heim, actually, because I like that too. That's another one. I mean, Jonah Heim's a switch hitter, but when I say these lefties just seem to get to Miller.
Well, we've got to move on to Brewers, Giants here and get into college football, but you have a little bit more time. Sorry?
Make the 3 for this game official and let me line shop for my Rays one, and I'll tweet it out.
So that's Cab on the first 5 over 3.5, Low over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs, and Smith over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs.
Yes.
Okay, well, stick around here for a second because we haven't heard, both you guys stick around because we haven't heard Jose's plan for Rangers Mariners. Jose, take it away.
I'll keep it short and sweet. I asked my buddy about Kumar Rocker. Didn't face him. Didn't say he sucks. So I can back him here. Texas Rangers, full game money line. By the way, I just think it's so funny to me that my friend, who's not even in baseball anymore, so I can say sucks dick at baseball, has told me that Jack Leiter sucks. And I was like, if this guy thinks that Jack Leiter sucks, imagine what MLB guys think he's going to do.
Leiter and Rocker were together at Vanderbilt, right?
Yeah. And obviously Rocker, he told me that his stuff is disgusting, just walks people. Sharpie just mentioned about how he's fixed his walks. And you guys are right. This start, the Grom start, they are not for this year. These starts are for next year and to prove to Rocker that he can do it in the major leagues and DeGrom that he can do it again, period, and stay healthy. So I think these are back-to-back starts of guys that are going to be super motivated to go out there and pitch well. They're going to be out there for a varying amount of time, sure. I am much more confident in the Rangers today than it will be tomorrow because today their bullpen is pretty fresh. And I'm going to be interested to see what they do. They had Chase Anderson, who's a good piggyback guy, and Owen White throw a bunch of pitches yesterday. That left everyone else ready to go, like Robertson, Yates, Leclerc, I forget how to say his name already, and Chafin, who has screwed me at times this year, but still a good pitcher. So their bullpen's fresh. Texas Rangers for me. I still think the Seattle Mariners team's a fake bunch of frauds.
What's the number you got on the Rangers? And yeah, my dude, we're going to talk about your parlay and a bunch of action here with Bobano when we talk the Thursday nighter. Jose, what was the number on the Rangers?
Plus 128.
Plus 128. That is locked in. Sharpie got Rocker over 4.5 Ks at minus 130. We were just told from our guy Tech Styles that that's a minus 225. Hey,
right CLV, don't feed your family.
That's yeah, no, I hear you. But that's great work getting that 4.5 minus 130. We have Smith over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs plus 110. Low over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs plus 125. And Daby Cab on the first 5 over 3.5 minus 110. Jose on the Rangers plus 128. I'm off of this spot. So we're gonna move on to Brewers.
One quick thing too about DeGrom. You don't think it's freaking a coincidence that Rocker, who's been in AA, has been brought up to AAA where DeGrom's been at, so he can be right next to DeGrom and gets called up with DeGrom? This is all like, here, you are bred to be this next guy. Here you go. So I would love the Bash Birdsong on the next one.
Well, let's do it. Stick around with us. Daby Cab, thank you for rocking with us, my friend. Huge weekend for you. Of course, Alabama Whiskey is our Saturday live stream right after tailgating, and you guys are crushing these Saturdays. So great job, Daby Cab. Please support Daby Cab and Medicate Mondays every Monday at 11 a.m. alongside Dutch Boy Fresh and at Daby Cab on X. Daby Cab, any last words for the Capper supporting the show?
Yeah, man, you said it. Tune in Saturdays. If you haven't been tuning in, come in. We have a good time on the tailgate. Anybody in the chat or any cappers that support Pub Sports Radio, you want to come give a best bet, reach out to me. I'd love to bring you on the tailgate. I like seeing you guys on screen. Nunya, Kong's clips. It's cool, and we're all here to cap together. And shout out to you guys that are members. We say it all the time, but this channel's held down, by Jeff Slaughter, one person. And you guys being members shows that you appreciate the channel and you want us to stay here. So thank you, Jimmy, Jose, Sharpie. I love capping with you guys. Chat. See y'all tomorrow.
There he is, Dabra Cadabra. And yes, we have a $50 race for the gold members. Thank you, Daby Cab. Let's roll on to 9:45 p.m. Eastern with the Milwaukee Brewers, 83-62, 41-33 on the road at the San Francisco Giants, 72-74, 41-33 at home at Oracle Park, San Francisco, California. This is our final game on the MLB card. Let's get into the weather in San Francisco here. 65 Fahrenheit, 7.2 miles per hour to center, dies down to 5.4 miles per hour. Let's get into the line history for this one. We have the first 5 up, so why don't we touch on that? 4 minus 113 to the over. This opened up a 4.5 and dropped to 4. Full game here, we have a 7.5, very low. This opened up at 8. It didn't last there long. It was just minus 110 to the under 2. It opened up at 6:45 p.m. At 10:20 p.m. This was a 7.5. So move to the under. Take a look at the money line here on this one. And Montas minus 125, which is where he opened, minus 125. So no movement whatsoever on the money line. 96% of tickets and 81% of the cash on the over. That's just wild to see a 7.5 in that situation. And then you have 71% of tickets and 69% cash on the Brewers, and this line not moving in their direction. Frankie Montas, all soft toss Montas on the bump, 6-10, 4.69 ERA, 1.37 whip. His last start, 3-2 loss at home versus the Rockies, 6 innings, 3 earned runs, 10 Ks, 3 walks. I'm not high on Montas. He's been a fade on the road all year long. I know, this is the second team, but road still is the road, and the road 5-4, 5.12 ERA. 13 home runs allowed, a 239 opponent's batting average, 39 walks, no 77 and a third. And then you have Hayden Birdsong, who's now throwing how many? I didn't even have his innings up here. How did I screw that up? But he's only throwing 22 innings at home, and that's what I was getting at. He's being hit at times on the road. He's got 5 pitches. I don't know what to make of him. I still have a trouble. In his last start, 6-4 loss at home versus Diamondbacks, he only makes it through 3 innings. He walks 5 batters. The Bruins are hitting 221, 703 OPS versus righties. Giants 232, 711 OPS. And both bullpens have been so good. Since August 15th, the Brewers bullpen 2.59 ERA, 1.04 whip, while the Giants bullpen 2.89 ERA, 1.25 whip. So we'll start with our guy Sharpie here. We love having him, star of the Odds Bunch YouTube channel. Sharpie, take it away. Your thoughts on Birdsong and your expectations of him today.
I actually didn't think we were going to get an outs prop on him, and they gave us the same damn outs prop they've put on him every damn game, 14.5. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I'm on the under 14.5 outs for Hayden Birdsong. Last time he pitched versus Milwaukee, guys, I took his earned runs over 2.5, and I took his walks over 2.5. Both hit. Granted, the walks on the last batter, Ikole Chingalawe. This is a terrible matchup for this kid. This kid cannot stay in the zone. He pitches outside the zone 5% worse than league average. This is a team who has 6 people who do not swing in the zone. That has 8 people who are league average or better who do not chase. There is 6 dead spots that these guys can walk at any given spot, guys. So I don't expect a long start from Birdsong. If this low under, that's telling me Montas is going to shove. And I do have Montas's lineup drawn out, just haven't got to him yet. But I know with the zone contact and the chase contact that I wanted to look into Montas today. So I think Hayden Birdsong does what he's been doing. Doesn't go more than 5 innings. And if he does, he cooks me by the hook. But I don't think he goes 4. He's gone 12, 11, and 9 outs his last 3 games. This, to me, is still a back-to-back. It's within a 10-day period of seeing, or within a 15-day period of seeing the same team. To me, is a back-to-back. So they've already seen your wild ass. They took a bunch of walks and popped you. I get it, San Francisco at night, so the home runs probably won't be there, but I still expect the walks to be. I still expect the pitch count to go through the roof.
Oh, I hear that. It makes sense. What doesn't make sense really is this move from 8 to 7.5. But it makes sense here. And Truth Teller looking at the under in this one. What did you get, Birdsong, under 14.5 outs? What was the juice?
It's minus 125.
Minus 125. Jose Bouquet, Brew Crew Giants, the Oracle. Take it away.
The Brewers embarrassed me yesterday, sullied my family name, just spat on me while I was down. Kong's Clips, Red Girl, Robert Franklin asked for a birthday pic. I let these bums fucking open their cheeks and just release right on my back and chest. So fuck this series. Fuck this game. I'm not betting it. And you know what? Fuck them. Because Logan Webb and Blake Snell were out there playing Pebble Beach the other day. And Blake Snell comes back up, takes those clubs he used, and just right up my ass. So no thank you.
I'm surprised you didn't have interest in the Snell bounce back after that 1-inning start he had for us in that last one.
Well, unfortunately, the line was moving away from him. The Brewers are good at hitting lefties. They slap dicking around with Logan Webb at Pebble Beach the day before. Sometimes you get it wrong. Sometimes you get it wrong. And hand up, I got it wrong yesterday. Clubs in ass.
You've been very entertaining.
Hey, at least you didn't get wooed on the last batter, bro, in the 6.2 out of the 7th inning, and he gets his 5th strikeout. So you have to stay up all fucking night to think you have a fucking chance to then get wooed right up your fucking culo.
Well, Sharpie, unfortunately,
Thank you, Manny Machado. Thank you, Manny Machado, for striking out, you bitch.
I did indeed have the Padres last night. And Sharpie, to make it more interesting, Sharpie, your son of a bitch Dodgers, you sons of bitches, they go up 7-2. You know what? It's over. I don't get my hopes up. Cubs lose, whatever. And then they let the Cubs come back in the game. You fucking assholes gave me hope. Kill me. Just stab me dead.
Stab me dead, because me and Noli every day say how bad Bobby Miller is and we need to fade him. And I'm like, bro, this is a first 5 over. Talking to Noli, like, bro, this is an easy first 5 over. Wicks is going to get crushed. Miller's going to get crushed. They both can carry it. Yeah. We don't bet it. He hits me up, dude, like every out and go home run. I'm like, oh no, just kick me while I'm down then, bro. Like, I mean, I know you've been making money off of fading him, Jimmy. I mean, I don't know if you faded him again yesterday, but dude, he's washed.
Yeah, he's so emotional on the mound too. You can tell that it's weighing on him. Like
emotional. Every pitch, if he doesn't get the call, big titty crying little girl, bro.
Birdsong under 14.5 outs for Sharpie. I'm going to stay off of this spot. I don't want Montas on the road, and it's funny that it's gone 8 to 7.5. I imagine that I've got enough action, enough angles, so we're going to move past.
I have
this
a
one.
question for Sharpie. You said
Sure.
big-titted crying girl. Would a small-titted crying girl be less of a complainer?
No, they throw shit at you while you're sleeping.
Ah,
So
fair.
you need your sleep.
fair.
Well,
I
that's
just
true.
wondering,
That's true.
curious.
So it's a valid question. My guy Sharpie, thank you for rocking with us. When's the next time everybody can see you on the Odds Bunch YouTube channel?
Tomorrow, Friday. So appreciate you, bro, for letting me randomly jump on and all that stuff, bro.
Always.
Hopefully we stay rolling, keeping to the money, and yeah, Gavin Williams better have a bounce back start. It's the gosh dang Rays. Look at who he's played. He's played a lot of tough teams, guys. Like, I'm not gonna give the guy excuses and all that, but he's not seen a team in the bottom 5 zone contact, bottom 5 chase contact, bottom 5 chase. He ain't seen a bottom feeder all fucking year. So if there ever was a game for him to pitch well, it is today.
And Sharpie, please jump on our live stream tonight if you have time, if you want to talk
I'm
out
home.
what's going on.
Shoot that shit. I'm down. Shoot it over. I'll jump on. I'm home tonight. I don't work. Thank you guys so much. Have a blessed day.
There he is, Sharpie in the house. Awesome. Got Sharpie to add to this list. This list is great. We're going to have so much fun. Elio making his debut here on Pub Sports Radio. We've all had so much fun with old Buck Knife. Wine Time, Peter Loshak, Brizzy, Dutch Boy Fresh, Troy Torrance, LJ, and now Sharpie joining us on our live stream this evening. Let's review all action here before we get into NFL and then college football. We're going to have to work pretty quick with Bobano. We have him for an hour and 20 minutes. Let's go over and review action. Goran Ninkowski's on the Tigers and the Cardinals money line. Gerald Jones on Washington Nationals first 5 minus a half. Crystal Craig's on Matt Chapman over 1.5 bases. Then we have Voodoo Ranger. Oh, no, that's for the football game. We'll talk about that. So football. So LJ from H-Town, Seattle money line. And he says Rangers 5-14 last 19, first game of a road series. Then we have Sharpie got Rocker 5 or more. Oh, so it's 5 or more K. So over 4.5, of course, at minus 130. And he has Scooball 9 or more Ks at minus 130 as well. And Philly Eagle Flyer also on Scooball over 8.5. And we had our guy Philly Eagle Flyer tell us that it was the biggest. What was the game again? The biggest second to be tied after 2 of his season. Biggest tied after 2 is on that Mariners Rangers.
Makes sense.
So that's action from our cappers in the chat. We'll go over more of that. So we get the card started here in 30 minutes. I doubled up on unders. First 3 under 2.5 minus 135 and first 5 under 4 at minus 105. I bet those are about, I don't know, 8:30 or so last night. I moved on the under 7.5 at minus 120. I sent it in. It was just a 2-cent difference at Pinnacle, so I sent it in. With credit with my local. That's Reds Cardinals. Jose's on that as well. He got minus 119. Then stacks play today. Number 1, Kyle Tucker over 1.5 bases at plus 104. We stayed off of A's Astros, but I kind of wanted the Astros minus 1.5. Ron Crawford spreadsheet dog play today's Miami Marlins at plus 157. UPK Yashalaz on the Yankees first 5 and the first 5 under 4.5. That's his hold my nuts play of the day. I joined on the Yankees minus 1 and the full game under 9. And his Pamper Pop play of the day is Valdez over 5.5 Ks. DC Capper Bookie Buster play today is him backing Washington with Mitchell Parker. Cabs on the first 5 over in Rays Guardians. He's on the first 5 over 3.5. So that was a first 5 over 4. He's on the first 5 over 3.5 in Rangers Mariners. He added Low over 1.5 hits, runs and RBIs. Smith over 1.5 hits, runs and RBIs. Sharpie's on Kumar Rocker over 4.5 Ks minus 130. And Jose's on the Rangers at plus 128. And then Sharpie gave us Birdsong under 14.5 outs at minus 125. And that is the MLB for today here.
Quick addition.
Yeah.
Quick addition. I'm going to add the Reds plus 128. Full game money line. And Robert, Red Girl, Kongs. If I could have a birthday pick redemption pick today, because again, Jimmy, I'll tell you what, I've only thought about what the Brewers did to me last night. once every 25 minutes, maybe. It's pissed me off greatly. It is Kumar Rocker and the Texas Rangers tonight. That is my redemption to you, Robert, Red Girl and Kongs.
Respect, get that redemption. And I hope Robert Franklin, Red Girl and Kong, 3 great friends of the show and the channel, had a great birthday yesterday. I love it, Jose. I will see you back for WNBA. We have an hour and 18 minutes for football right now, so we got to hammer away. Please welcome the triumphant return of Hamilton's own black and yellow, Oski wee season ticket holder, our friend Mr. Ian Cameron, to the show. Bobano, how are you?
Triumphant return. I like the sounds of that. It's been a while since I've been gracing the hallowed halls of betting with the bag, but long overdue, and I'm excited to be here in my new slot, Thursdays Talking Football.
Yes, and it's Talking Football for now. But, pucks are going to be here shortly, so we're going to have to figure out your schedule.
I'm going to be put to work now. No more of those 2-game Friday shit cards.
Absolutely. We'll get the Monster Thursday card. So we'll have to figure out your schedule, what works best, getting the most use out of your wealth of knowledge. Let's talk about the situation here. Gordon Nkowski on the Dolphins here. We have Voodoo Ranger on Jalen Phillips over a quarter sack at plus 250. We have Trap God on Shakir over 41.5 receiving yards. We have Joey Todero on Keon Coleman over 3.5 receptions. Dougie Wise on the Dolphins minus 2.5. And I have a parlay here from my dude. Let me get that up here. We also have the 2-pack skunt bag play of the day. That's James Cook. Anytime touchdown, the other's college football. We'll talk about that one. And my dude's parlay is Tua over 30 pass attempts, Tyreek Hill over 7.5 receiving yards, Dolphins team total over 20.5. That's at plus 125. Viper MB's on Josh Allen under 8.5 rush attempts. I'm very curious to hear what Bobano thinks of our quarterback, Josh Allen, dealing with the left hand injury. My action, and I'm on the over 48.5. Basically, look, primetime unders have made us a lot of money. But I think this has just gone too far. And I needed the confidence to go up against this huge move to the under. And Dennis Garcia and other cappers gave it to me on Londo, also on that over. The cappers gave it to me on Tuesday night. So I'm on the over 48.5. And I do not like seeing I'm going up against the Sweaty Butchers prime cut on the under 48.5. Robert Franklin also on the under 48.5. Look, these primetime unders have made me so much money in the last year and a half. But I've had enough. And maybe this is the wrong time to, as the Locker Room podcast says, plant the flag, but I'm doing it. Let's take a look at the situation here, line history. And I'm not going to go over my breakdown that's up right now with Troy Torrance. What we want to hear is Bobano's breakdown. So I'm just going to set up the line history and touch on a couple things here. And I can't wait for our live stream tonight. And of course, Bobano with us on Mondays on our live stream. This market's moving quickly towards the Dolphins. This went from 1.5 to 2.5 at Pinnacle. When it first moved to 2.5, it was yesterday at 11:39 a.m. It was, almost no vig to back them at minus 2.5. And now we have minus 2.5 at minus 114. So a real legitimate move towards the fish. From a total side of things, the under 48.5 is juiced now. This opened up at 51. The under 48.5 is minus 112. If you want to go over 48.5, you get even money, which means that over 48 is available. Tom Leach liking that over 48 as well. So I like to see that. And I'm going to go over more action from our cappers here in the chat. So let's get into the cash flow for our Thursday nighter. We have right now 27% of the tickets and 53% of cash on the Dolphins. I mean, that's the markets are caring about the action on the Dolphins, moving it towards them. And then 28% of tickets and 70% of cash is on the under. Look, I get that right now it's a public over and the market's going up against me. But sometimes you have to take a stand, and sometimes you have to go against the market and go against the perceived sharp action and just do it. And that's what I'm doing here. So, look, what we saw from the Bills defense was a pass rush that surprised us. Greg Rousseau was a monster. Played 79% of the snaps. We knew that him and Epinesa would play a lot more than what we're used to. Epinesa played 62% of the snaps. Von Miller, 48% of snaps. Look, if their pass rush was so good, is their secondary so awful? Or what is the level of defense that's so bad that had the Cardinals, in control, up 17-3 late in the second and putting up 28 points. I still think that this defense is vulnerable, and I still think that Josh Allen is spectacular and does whatever it takes to get a W. And look, you can talk about his fumbles and his interceptions, and I'll tell you, good God, I would want him to be the quarterback of my football team. Then from the Dolphins, the emotion and the issues that were going on before that game obviously played a role in that underwhelming 2017 victory. I mean, your superstar player getting handcuffed outside of the stadium, and then Calais Campbell getting handcuffed as well, just trying to make sure that his friend is okay. And Calais Campbell now on the Dolphins in his first year, wanting to show everybody that he's going to stand up for his teammates. I think there's excuses all around. Look, you can talk about the injuries to the running backs, and I know that Bobano will with Mostart and Chan, but look, I've watched Jeff Wilson Jr. do enough of a job, and I know that when you play against the Dolphins, you have to be so concerned about Waddle and Tyreek Hill that there's going to be opportunities to run even with so-called average or under average running backs. Take it away for us here. All I have is the full game over, and if it's a low-scoring first quarter, I'll be live betting it. Take it away, and Saturday said if Jeff Wilson gets reps, he'll be fine. Take it away for us here, Bobano. Our Thursday nighter. Welcome back to the show. We've missed you. Bills, Dolphins, the floor is yours.
Absolutely. So Pinnacle offered +3 -120 on Buffalo. I'm not making that official, but I did sprinkle on that. My official play is the same thing you're on. I think the total's falling in the wrong direction, and so over 48 is at -112 right now at DraftKings. I'm going to lock that in for my first official play back on the show. And it's very simple for me. I think both offenses are in a position of strength tonight. I think when you look at the Bills, I know the injury to his non-throwing hand, but I still think it's not going to impact maybe or impair Josh Allen as much as you think. I was very impressed with them offensively last week. James Cook was and running the ball, catching it out of the backfield, and all the talk was about this makeshift receiving core, this rebuilt receiving core. But I was impressed. Look, when Mac Hollins is scoring a touchdown, how can you not be impressed by the Buffalo receiving core last week? He played solid. Keon Coleman had over 50 yards receiving, and they didn't even get much from Dalton Kincaid at the tight end spot against Arizona last week. So I think there's definitely some room for improvement. And then you factor in the injuries to Devon Achane. You factor in that Raheem Mostert's going to play, but banged up maybe a little bit. There's probably put the ball through the air. And then you factor in that the Bills' weakness right now, I think, on defense is their back seven. The linebacking core without Matt Milano, injured in training camp and preseason. Big-time absence, big-time hit to the linebacking core. When you look at the secondary, there's 2 new starting safeties this year because you lost Poyer and Hyde from that team last year. That's significant. And then you look at the secondary, new faces there in the cornerback spot, and one of them, arguably, you can make a case he was the most improved player in that secondary for the Bills from the start of last season. Taron Johnson, not going to play tonight, out due to injury, which is a significant loss to this Buffalo secondary, and an area where you could really suffer going against Waddle and Tyreek Hill and this passing game. And I think Mike McDaniel is going to see that and probably look to put the ball up in the air and through the air more in the passing game, knowing that the running back spot is also banged up. So you factor that in, I think Miami can have success moving the ball, hit on some big plays in the passing game. But I think when you look at Miami's defense, still without Bradley Chubb, I know Phillips was good enough to be ready for week 1, but there's still some questions about pass rush consistently getting there, and you need that when you're playing against a guy like Josh Allen. I think the Bills are capable of going on the road and moving that football as well. And now you've got this total in a reasonable range where now you can get a 27-24 being able to cash a ticket for you. Now with this total falling to 48. So you're right. I'm not always a fan of liking these primetime games over the total, but I think there's reasons matchup-wise to like it here tonight.
I love to hear it. And out of curiosity, we're at the sports book. I pull out $1,000 and I say, go up to the window, make a bet on the side. You can take half profit. At 2.5, who do you bet?
Buffalo. I'm not laying with Miami. Miami's 2-11 the last 13 meetings against Buffalo. They thought they were good enough to compete and/or beat Buffalo last year, and they still lost both games to Buffalo, including the game that decided the division, final game of the year on Sunday Night Football. I got to see it before I believe it that Miami can beat this team.
And what kept you off actually moving on it?
Miami's got this game triple circled, right? I mean, they have to, right? You got to believe that. And the fact that, they didn't play great and they still beat Jacksonville. Terrible first half. The Tyreek distraction of him getting detained and arrested before the game, and they still found a way to win that, I think, is a positive for Miami. So I know they're fired up through the roof for this game. And that probably is enough to keep Bills off being an official play. And I don't like Johnson being out. I really don't in the secondary when you got to face Hill and Waddle. So that's what kept it off, but I would still only take the Bills at this number. And I did. I sprinkled on Buffalo +3 -120, but over for my only official play.
I love it. I'm right there with you. Fabiano says the Bills win tonight. Robert Franklin with our guy, the Sweaty Butcher, on the under 48.5. DC Capper on Buffalo +2.5. We have Tom Leach on the Dolphins -2.5. Truth Teller leaning to the under. Tom Leach liking the over 48.5. And RVD got that under at 52.5. That was part of the reason why I made 2 bets, and I'm going to keep doing it on next week's card already. I just feel like if we're going to take this as serious as possible, then I can't be getting a number worse than my colleagues because I capped the game, during the week of it, basically. We'll go over that more, and we'll see what my ROI is on the week ahead action. Robert Franklin on Tua under 265 passing yards. Justin McKelvey got Wilson anytime touchdown +114 in his pocket. And Alec Dirks, you got to change that because Achan will not be available tonight for the parlay, so you could get that back here. Alondo says Bills money line and the over for him. And Super True Story on the over 48.5. Truth Teller says 48 just sounds too high. Says this is 2014 type game. And then we have Russo over a half sack for Voodoo Ranger. Phillips over a quarter sack at +220. And Talk Sports with JT also on the under 266.5 passing yards. The chillest, we know Sharpie is, says 73% of the bets on the Bills, and they're giving an extra half point while they're feeling generous today. Miami for him. Proof Bets has taken Miami -6.5 on the alt line at +180. J Dub on Allen under 245.5. And Alec Dirk says DK hasn't voided yet. So do we think that Achan and Mostert, because is Mostert out and Achan questionable? I thought it was
no, it's Achan out. Mostert is going to play, I think. Yeah, that's the latest.
All right, well, yeah, a lot of stuff there, Alec Dirk. So we'll just want to know all the information possible. Okay, great stuff. We are on the over, and our live stream is going to be so much fun this evening. Let's move on to college football now, and we start with tonight's game. We start with tonight's game. We're not going to cut this out. We're going to be quick. I know you guys have already capped it, but we want to hear what Bobano's plan is with it.
Oh, it is Mostert out. Mostert out and Achan questionable. Jimmy was right, 100%. There we go.
Okay.
It's Mostert out and game time decision for Achan.
Okay, cool. Okay, that's locked in. Thank you, guys. Okay, so we have action from now. Kent Davies is on the Northwestern State, South Alabama over 59.5. We are not going to cap that game and focusing on FBS, but we can change that as we go. Slow Jams Arsenal is giving us Texas State and Arizona State over 61 as well. So let's get to work here, Bobano. Just give me a quick second to move it over our line history over to college football and the Gamma Ray play of the day from the New Corkers on Arizona State +1 at -110. Let's get into college football here and move over. Here we go. Okay, we're going to start with the line history here. We're going to be using Pinnacle and BetOnline as well. We're going to use both. Texas State -1 and -101. Texas State open +2. A pretty legit move towards the Bobcats. Let's see what BetOnline has done with it. BetOnline opened this up a +3. BetOnline always getting their lines out first. If you're looking for a new account, we have a great deal with BetOnline for a new account. 100% bonus up to $1,000 and doesn't have to be Bitcoin. That's through our website. And the promo code through our link is Pub Sports. So a big move there. Let's get to the total here in this one. This total is at 60, minus 112 to the under. This has gone up from 58.5. This hit a high water mark of 60.5. And right when the show started, it moved back to 60. Still a 1.5 point move towards the over. And when we get into the cash flow, here we go. We have 66% of the tickets, 67% of cash on Arizona State on the spread. But we should see what the money line is as well. On the money line, we have the opposite, 52% of the tickets, 67% of cash on Texas State. And of course, they've gone from dog to favorite. So it was sharp action moving that number. And then the total's pretty coin flippy, 47% of tickets, 55% cash on the over. The Sun Devils opened their season with an impressive 48-7 win at home over Wyoming, as just 6.5 point favorites. They followed that up with a 30-23 home win over Mississippi State as 6.5 point favorites. They were up 30-3 late in the third. They left their foot off the gas. They looked dominant for the first half of that football game and then, opened up the door for the Bulldogs. Texas State opened their season with a 34-27 home victory over Lamar. It was pretty underwhelming, but they were also up 18-0 at the half before allowing Lamar back into it. They followed that up with a dominant 49-10 victory at home over UTSA in front of Jose's sloppy tits as 2.5 point favorites. Put up 504 yards in the victory. Bobano, take it away. Arizona State Sun Devils, Texas State Bobcats.
It's a great game, believe it or not. You wouldn't think that when you see Arizona State, Texas State, but Arizona State's been definitely better than I thought. First two games. So it's a program that's had some tough times. And of course, you see them obviously beat Wyoming and Mississippi State at home. Texas State might be one of the better group of 5 teams this year in college football. I firmly believe that. And the funny thing is they lost TJ Finley, their quarterback, in the transfer portal, and they ended up bringing back Jordan McLeod from James Madison. A very good quarterback. This offense is loaded. They're great along the offensive line. Very good in the skill position group. And I think G.J. Kinney is going to be the next big prospect that's going to jump to the Power 4 at one point and be a head coach because he's that good. He's done a great job. This Texas State program was a disaster when he took it over, and they've gotten better every year. This is a team that this is a huge game for them because if they win tonight, they all of a sudden have a win over a Power 4 conference team on their resume. I think they have every opportunity to win the Sun Belt. They're as good as any team in that conference. If you pair a win tonight with winning the Sun Belt, Texas State's going to have a resume good enough maybe to make the 12-team playoff. So that is something that's in the back of their mind as well. Arizona State looks impressive, and I like Kenny Dillingham as a coach, but now you're going on the road after 2 home wins. You had to hang on for dear life against Mississippi State. That was more of a struggle than it had to be because you were in control and you kind of let Mississippi State back into the game. I still do have questions about Arizona State's defense, and with all due respect to Blake Shapen and Mississippi State, and with all due respect to Wyoming, I think Texas State's got a better offense than those two teams. I think going on the road on a short week's a little tricky. I did take a little Texas State +1, -115. I'll make that official.
Texas State +1 at -115 for Bobano. He is on the board here. Let's roll on. Next up for us, we head to Saturday, September 14th action. We open up at 12 p.m. Eastern with the number 13th ranked Oklahoma State Cowboys, 2-0, playing their first road game of the season at Tulsa, 1-1, but 1-0 at Chapman Stadium in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Let's get into the line history here for this one. Move over here. I had it set up. I apologize. We'll start with the total. This total is at 62.5, -108. Opened up at 62.5 at -110. Very little movement on this one. Let's get to the point spread here. From a spread perspective, we have this sitting with Oklahoma State as 19-point favorites. Opened up as 20.5 point favorites. Now -19 at -105. When we get to the cash flow for Saturday action, we have, apologies, it's going to take a second at times. Come on. Here we go. We have 82% of the tickets and 87% of the cash on Oklahoma State. Very popular dog. Oh, sorry. Let me say that again.
Tulsa.
Yes, 82% of tickets and 87% cash on Tulsa, a very popular home dog, and 81% of the tickets and 65% of the cash on the under. That total is not being moving. Oklahoma State opened their season with a 44-20 victory at home over South Dakota State as 12.5-point favorites, followed up with that wild 39-31 home victory over Arkansas as 10.5-point favorites in a game that saw them trailing 21-7 at halftime. It was wildly exciting. Tulsa opened their season with a 62-28 home win over FCS Northwestern State as 37.5-point favorites, and that was followed up by a 28-24 road loss at Arkansas State. Now, there were 9.5-point dogs in that one. Wine Time Sports, by the way, says came in late. He's on Texas State in the over 60.5 and says staying away from this one, leaning towards Oklahoma State. Let's hear from Bobano. Cowboys on the road at Tulsa. Take it away.
Yeah, you can't like the spot for Oklahoma State. I'm worried about that a little bit for them. But I'm very impressed with Oklahoma State. Like they beat a very good FCS team, South Dakota State, in their first game. And they looked like they were going to lose to Arkansas. It didn't go well in the first half. But for Alan Bowman and the offense to rally and win that game, defense to step up, and when they were down big against Arkansas and find a way to win in overtime, I give Mike Gundy's team a whole lot of credit. And a game where Ollie Gordon, the best player on their team on offense at running back, really didn't do much. And they still found a way to come back and beat a very good, at least a solid Arkansas team. Tulsa's still got defensive issues. There's no question. And yeah, I think when you look at them offensively, there's some things to like. You certainly like, the job that Wilson's capable doing calling plays. But I think when you look at this Tulsa offense, defense, there's still some question marks with them. You look at the performance against Arkansas State. They give up 28 points and they lose 28-24. They faced Northwestern State, and, I know they scored 62, but they gave up 28. And my issue here is that Tulsa's defense is still going to be up against it, facing Oklahoma State's offense, and you would expect, by the way, Ollie Gordon to get going here against Tulsa. This is a Tulsa defense that last week against Arkansas State, did struggle to stop the run. And is not a defense I trust to contain a quality back like Ollie Gordon. So I think Oklahoma State, now I'm worried about this being a little bit of a letdown after an emotional win, but I still think Oklahoma State could move the ball. But I think Tulsa can move the ball too, because I think their strengths on offense coming into this game. We still have to see more from the freshman quarterback, Kirk Francis, but very capable in my opinion. Still a couple of holes still on the Oklahoma State defense, even though they bring a lot back. This is one of those classic situations where I think Oklahoma State's good enough to win by 3 touchdowns, but the spot tells me I don't want to lay this number with Oklahoma State. I feel more comfortable with points being scored. Plenty points for Oklahoma State, I expect, but I also expect Tulsa to contribute here in this game as well, because another thing you might see, while there's questions about Oklahoma State's defense, there could be also a little bit of a defensive hangover for them coming off that big win against Arkansas last weekend. So we're going to go ahead with this game and go over the total. Looks like the best number here currently available is 62 minus 110 at Bookmaker.
Over 62 minus 115 over at Bookmaker for Bobano. Let's keep rolling. Saturday action, 12 p.m. Eastern. We have the Cincinnati Bearcats 1-1 playing their first road game of the season at the Miami of Ohio Red Hawks. We're in Oxford, Ohio for the Red Hawks home opener. Take a look at the line of history here. We have Miami of Ohio opening up at plus 2.5, now plus 3.5. It's a big move. It's a big move through a key number. Bearcats now 3.5-point favorites. Take a look at the total here as well. And we are sitting with a 46, very slightly juiced to the over. This opened up at 45.5, and it got up to 46 the first time and came back, but it's back at 46 again. So a 0.5-point move to the over and a full point move to the Bearcats. Cash flow wise, 91% of the tickets and 94% of the cash are on the Bearcats. So huge amount of action on them. 27% of the tickets and 83% of the cash on the under, which is somewhat appealing here. Let's start with the Bearcats. Open their season with a 38-20 win at home over FCS Towson as 33.5-point favorites. It's a funny game, 38-28, because they put up 658 yards of offense, but they allowed the Towson Tigers to put up 438 of their own. You would think with a game with, 1,100 yards that more than 58 points would be scored in it. They followed that up with that 28-27 home loss to Pittsburgh as 2.5-point dogs. Let the Panthers come back from a 27-6 deficit late in the third. A huge comeback against a rival. Miami opened their season with a 13-6 loss at Northwestern on August 31st. So they've had a lot of time to sit with that loss. They were just 3.5-point dogs. I thought they played a good football game, but did not cover and open their season with an L, and have been sitting here for 12 days thinking about it. Take it away for us here, Bobano, Bearcats, Red Hawks, Yager Stadium in Oxford, Ohio.
I did not like the hire of Scott Satterfield the moment it happened in Cincinnati, replacing Luke Fickell. There is nothing I saw about Scott Satterfield in Cincinnati last year that impressed me. They had a dismal season. And to be honest with you, I don't like what I see from Cincinnati so far this year. You beat Towson in your first game, big whoop, and you didn't even look that impressive. And then last week, that is a catastrophic loss. That's an unacceptable loss against Pittsburgh. You had that game completely in your control. You stopped running the football. That is an absolute, that's brutal to allow that to happen. You've got to continue to run the football when you've got a lead like that. You stop running the ball. You put the ball in a quarterback in Brendan Sorsby that's very erratic. He can get on a red-hot stretch, and then he can go ice cold, sometimes in the same game. So I hated the way they played in the second half on offense. The game plan made no sense whatsoever. Pittsburgh comes all the way back. I have question marks about Cincy's defense, too, and we saw it in the second half. Once Eli Holstein got comfortable leading the Pitt offense, they couldn't stop him. Up and down the field, Pitt went, and they turned a double-digit deficit into a comeback win. It was a brutal loss for Cincinnati. You can't lose that way. This is not a team I'm very high on. I've dropped them. I dropped them last year in my power ratings in college football. I'm already dropping them after 2 games this year. There's no way I'm laying 3.5 with them. And I know, look, for Miami they lose to Northwestern in the first game. Offense was not good, even with Brett Gabbert, their senior quarterback, returning. But you have to remember the weather. It was very windy, and there's a lot of wind down there at Lake Michigan where Northwestern's playing their home games this year. The weather was not really conducive for the offenses, I think, playing all that great. And I know the game after that for Miami offensively wasn't the most impressive result for them either. But I think here at home, we've seen Chuck Martin's team in these home underdog spots, often sometimes even against power competition, rise up. And you look at the first the game against Northwestern, they struggled. They have a bye week now coming into this game against the Cincinnati Bearcats. That's a positive, in my opinion, for Chuck Martin and the Miami Redhawks going into this game. I'm on the Miami O side. Remember, I know there's a MAC team, and you're thinking, wow, there's a MAC team only getting 3.5 here against, a Cincinnati Bearcats team that plays in a Power 4 conference like the Big 12. But I think when you look at these teams, Miami can hang with Cincinnati. The defense is not that great for the Bearcats. I think it's an opportunity for the Miami O offense to finally get some traction here in this game. And I think that at the very least, they make this a game where they lose by field goal. Worst case scenario, and it wouldn't shock me one bit to see them win outright. And let's factor in, Jimmy, just how good the MAC has looked in some of these non-conference games already. Look at what Bowling Green did to Penn State last week. Took them right down to the wire. Look at what Northern Illinois did, the upset of the season, probably. I think it's safe to say there will be no bigger and better upset than Northern Illinois as 4 touchdown underdogs out of the MAC beating Notre Dame last week. The MAC has been good in non-conference play. We already have Bowling Green and Northern Illinois last week showing us they could step up in class. Cincinnati's no good. I'll take my chances with Miami O plus 3.5. And you can get that at minus 110 right now at various books.
You got it locked in. Unfortunately, our great friend DJ Big Boss had to witness that horrific Notre Dame loss.
Yeah, I feel bad for him. I know. That's
in
a good
person.
Point. Yeah.
Traveled to South Bend for that game.
Wow.
And watched his football team lose 16-14.
That's what they give him. He actually makes the trip to Notre Dame, and that's what they give him. That's
now, of course, he's surrounded by beautiful older women all the time, so he's fine.
That'll make him feel good. Yeah.
But it was a tough loss. Let's roll on. Next up for us, 2 p.m. Eastern, with the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers 2-0, 1-0 on the road at the Temple Owls 0-2. This is the home opener at Lincoln Financial Field, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Wonder how many fans show up for this one. certainly haven't looked good through 2 games. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. Temple opening up as 17.5 dogs, now 18-point dogs. Now, they did get up to 19-point dogs this morning at 5 a.m. It's come back a point. So we've had a half-point move towards upstart Coastal Carolina. Who would have thought that they would look so good early in the year, going to Jacksonville State and destroy them? Let's take a look at the cash flow then for this game that pops off at 2 p.m. Eastern. This totals at a 52.5. It did drop down to 51.5, and it's come back to 52.5. We basically have had no movement on the total. Let's get to the cash flow. We have 16% of the tickets and 15% of the cash on Coastal Carolina, and it's moved a half point in their direction. You have 59% of the tickets and 74% of the cash on the over, and this dropped down a point and came back. Coastal Carolina opened their season with an impressive 55-27 win over Jacksonville State, as I said, as 3.5-point dogs, put up 552 yards of offense, and held on to the ball for 39 minutes and 51 seconds. Followed it up with a 40-21 home win over William & Mary as 17.5-point favorites. A little underwhelming, but covered. Temple comes in off 2 ugly road losses. They opened their season with a 51-3 loss at Oklahoma. That's 43.5-point dogs. Followed it up with that 38-11 loss at Navy as 11.5-point dogs. Take it away for us here, Bobano, the Temple Owls home opener.
So people were of the opinion, most people coming into the season, that Temple would be one of the worst teams in the country. And the question would be, have the betting markets already in week 1 and week 2, the first couple games of the season, caught up to how bad Temple, it looks like, is? The answer is no. At Oklahoma, they lose 51-3. And think about how bad that loss is now when you see Oklahoma struggle to barely beat Houston straight up as huge favorites last week. And look at what Temple did against them. Then you follow that up with Navy, who's rebuilding, kind of going back to a different style that they're instituting a new offense this year. It's not triple option. They're doing K-gun. They're doing all kinds of these different formations on offense this year, Navy. And Temple still goes there and gets absolutely dummied, destroyed, 38-11. I mean, this defense is horrible for Temple. They're absolutely wretched on that side of the ball. I think there's some glimpses of potential in their quarterback, Forrest Brock, but he's still turnover prone, and he had 2 interceptions in the loss against Navy last week. And they're 0-2 against the spread. Think about it. Everyone, consensus, had Temple one of the worst teams in the country, and they've still lost to the point spread by a solid margin. I mean, they lose by 27 points last week against Navy as 11.5-point dogs. 42.5-point dogs against Oklahoma. They don't cover that. They lose by 48. It could actually there's still some maybe catching up to do with where the number is and where the power rating is on Temple. And meanwhile, you look at Coastal, I've had to elevate my ranking on them in the first 2 games. Jacksonville State was one of the better teams in their conference last year. They destroyed them 55-27, albeit they got a lot of turnovers to go their way. But Coastal Carolina has been forcing turnovers early in the week or early in the season. And William & Mary, Bill and his bitch, last week. That's a 13th ranked FCS team, William & Mary. So that's not a slouch team, even though it was an FCS team that Coastal beat. And they beat them 40-21. They had that game well in hand. They were up 37-7 at one point against William & Mary before garbage time, and they took some starters out, and it ended up 40-21. But it was all Coastal Carolina. I had questions about Coastal. I had questions about Tim Beck. He's not my favorite coach. Second year now as head coach here. I had questions about Ethan Vasco replacing a very decorated quarterback like Grayson McCall, and he's been solid. They're still running the football extremely well, led by Christian Washington. And to me, Temple is inept. I'm not usually in the business of laying big points on the road, but I'll make an exception here in this game. I know there's a couple people liking Temple in the chat. Not with my money, not with this team. They are a disaster. And I still, based on the first 2 results, I don't think the betting markets have even caught up to how bad they are, because you're talking about a team that the odds, not like the odds makers didn't know or didn't think Temple would be one of the worst teams in the country this year, and yet they have still been 0-2 against the spread the first 2 games against Navy and Oklahoma. That's a red alarm going off to me, that Navy's totally going from a different offense, triple option, to K-gun, and they're trying to throw it a little bit. Totally different offense from what Navy's used to running, and they still put up 38 points against this Temple defense last week. So I'm going to lay the big number here with Coastal. Minus 17.5, minus 110 at FanDuel.
Locked and loaded. It was a great breakdown I'm excited about this now. Hearing Wager Detective and others on Temple and Bobano adamant for Coastal Carolina. I love the breakdown. We roll on 3:30 p.m. Eastern with the Tulane Green Wave 1-1 playing their first road game of the season. Not an easy place to play. Memorial Stadium in Norman, Oklahoma. At the number 15th ranked Oklahoma Sooners, who are playing their third straight home game to open the year. Last week, I was big on Darian Mensah and this Tulane Green Wave squad, and I messed it up by betting the under 2. So I'm 7-3 on the year. I should have got paid. That strip sack that went the other way. This is a freshman quarterback, a redshirt freshman, who no one thought he was going to be the starting quarterback here. I think he's got an enormous upside. I'm very high on Tulane and was thankful for the casher, although I did screw it up by also betting the under. They opened their season with a 52-0 victory at Southeast Louisiana as 28.5 point favorites. They followed it up with that 34-27 home loss at Kansas State as 9.5-point dogs. I mean, I was following that game very, very closely. They outgained Kansas State 491 to 396. I want to say they were the better team. Obviously, I won't. Oklahoma opened up with a dominant 51-3 home win over Temple as 43.5-point favorites. Followed that up with that 16-12 home victory over Houston. That was a strange one. 27.5-point favorites. Houston outgained Oklahoma 318 to 249. Let's get into the line history here for this one. This game pops off at 3:30, and I meant to have it all set up for us, and I don't. Here we go. We have this total at 45.5 minus 104 to the under. This opened up at 50, dropped all the way down to 45.5. A big drop in the number. And then on the side, we have a 13.5-point dog in Tulane on the road. And that's where they opened at 13, got up to 13.5, got up to 14, now back at 13.5, a half-point move towards the Sooners. Let's get to the cash flow here for this one. Another 3:30 game here. Sorry, I should have this set up, and I'll do a better job of it as we move forward. But cash flow wise, come on. Here we go. 78% of the tickets and 85% of the cash on Tulane. A lot of people seeing what I'm seeing, but the market not moving towards them. And then you have 71% of tickets and 92% of cash on the under, and the market moving towards that sharp action. Take it away here for us, Bobano. Green Wave Sooners at Memorial Stadium in Norman, Oklahoma.
So a lot of people thought Tulane was going to be a little bit down this year. They've been one of the better group of 5 teams in the country the last few years, but those were Willie Fritz teams. Then they lose their quarterback, and they lose a lot of the production, both sides of the ball from last year, and people thought there'd be a down year for Tulane. I pumped the brakes on that opinion because of the hire they made. John Summerall was a phenomenal coaching hire. He did a great job at Troy. Look at what Troy's done, by the way, 2 games without John Summerall on the sideline. Not the same Troy team. He was a great coach there. He was a great hire by Tulane. And I said, because of this guy, I am not going to panic about Tulane. And so I said, that Kansas State game, I was not ready to lay it with Kansas State. And sure enough, I wanted to watch. I wanted to see how Tulane looked against a good Big 12 team. And they looked great. And they probably should have won the game. They got screwed at the end. That was not offensive pass interference on that at the end of that game. That was a bad call. Should have been a touchdown to tie the game. Unfortunately, it gets called back. They get stopped on 4th down, and Kansas State hangs on. Tough loss for Tulane, but they were toe-to-toe with Kansas State. It was very difficult to tell who the better team was watching with your own 2 eyes. Darian Mensah, man, I can't believe everybody passed up recruiting and signing this guy. He's been great. He can throw. He can run. The offensive line's good. They've got weapons. I think the defense, what was impressed me about that Kansas State game, Jimmy, is Tulane's defensive line imposed their will on the Kansas State offensive line. They did. I mean, they did. They blew up the run game at times with Giddens. They made life difficult for Avery Johnson in the pocket. It was very, very impressive. In the trenches, Tulane held up against a very good Kansas State team. That has me getting, hopefully, some positive confidence they can go to Norman and hold up here with that defensive front. And I think that defensive front, which gave K-State fits, can give Oklahoma fits. Oklahoma's offensive line is bad right now. Bad. If you don't believe me, watch the Temple game. Watch the Houston game last week where they barely survived with a straight-up win. That offensive line's not blocking. They're not winning their one-on-one battles. And if Tulane has that defensive front playing like they did last week, they're going to be able to probably harass Oklahoma's struggling offensive line quite a bit. Jackson Arnold ain't it for me at quarterback right now for Oklahoma. I've not been impressed. And by the way, they faced two, Temple and Houston. Well, Tulane's a lot better than Temple and Houston. I think this is a very dangerous game for Oklahoma. They almost lost outright as a massive favorite because of their offensive woes against Houston at home last week. And Tulane's a lot better team, in my opinion, than Houston. So I think this is a live road underdog here. The only concern I would have maybe is just the heartbreak of the Kansas State game at home, that maybe there's a reverberating effect. But I think you wipe that away quickly when you realize, hey, we're going to Oklahoma, Norman here to play Oklahoma out of the SEC. This is a game we get up for. This is a game that inspires us. And I think Tulane is good enough in the trenches. I do worry about them against the Oklahoma defense because Oklahoma's defense is very good. I think they are going to have a very good defense this year, Oklahoma. But even Oklahoma's defense faced a Temple offense and a Houston offense that I don't think is going to throw what Mensa and the Tulane offense can throw at them. So give me the points here with Tulane. I'll take it, plus 13.5. I think the move to the under is correct. I think this could be a low scoring. I'm certainly not betting any Oklahoma games over the total with that offensive line and Jackson Arnold playing like he is. But for me, the only official play, Tulane, plus 13.5, minus 110 at DraftKings.
You got it. You're locked in. Any concern about the redshirt freshman first game on the road, or did you bypass that after watching him?
Of course, but I see a lot of poise. I don't see a lot of bad decisions. You know, he's protecting the football. It is a good defense on the road. That is the biggest concern. Whether that offense is going to, because I think Oklahoma's defense is really good. Like, could be a top 10, top 15 defense. But we're talking maybe Oklahoma, a bottom 25, 30 offense based on what I've seen so far. It's been that bad. And Oklahoma's still got to prove. You got to put up points to be able to win a game and cover a number and win a game by 2 touchdowns or more. I'm not sure they can do that yet. You know what? I'm actually going to do, just for some security, I like the idea of having a 14 instead of 13.5, Jimmy. I'm going to go Tulane plus 14, minus 126 at Pinnacle.
You are locked and loaded. Let's roll on. 3:30 p.m. Eastern. We have the West Virginia Mountaineers 1-1 first road game of the year. The Pittsburgh Panthers 2-0, 1-0 at home with Acrisure Stadium in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Let's get into the line history here for this one. Panthers open up as 1.5-point dogs at home. They're now 2.5-point dogs. So we have a 1-point move towards the Mountaineers at Pinnacle. Let's get into the total for this one. And on the total, we're sitting with a 64.5. This opened up at 59. Wow, a huge move to the over. 5.5-point move towards the over. Cash flow wise, 78% of the tickets and 79% of the cash on West Virginia on the spread. Similar numbers on the money line, 78 and 70. Market moving in their direction. Haven't crossed the key number of 3 yet. 32% of the tickets and 79% of cash on the over. There's a sharp look on the over. Only 32% of the tickets moving this thing 5.5 points. Obviously, the books respecting those bettors on the over. West Virginia opened their season with a 34-12 home win over Penn State as 7.5-point dogs. Followed that up with a 49-14 home win over FCS Albany as 37.5-point favorites. Underwhelming start from them. Oh, sorry. I said open their season with 34-12 home win over Penn State. They lost that badly. I know because I was on them. So sorry, I wrote that in my notes wrong. 34-12 home loss to Penn State. I don't know why I wrote that. I know well how bad they looked in that game because I was on them. A market had moved in their direction, and I was on them and lost. Pittsburgh opened their season with a 55-24 victory at home over Kent State as 23.5-point favorites. They followed that up with that dramatic come-from-behind 28-27 victory in Cincinnati as 2.5-point favorites. We talked about that in the Cincinnati Bearcat breakdown. They were down 27-6 before mounting the comeback. Very interested in your plan of attack here, Bobano. Mountaineers, Panthers in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, backyard brawl because apparently rivalry week has been moved from late November, when it's been for as long as I've been alive, to apparently the middle of September. You've got this game. You got the Civil War, Oregon State. You got the Apple Cup, Washington State. You got the Shula Bowl, Florida International. I mean, rivalry week apparently is now in September all of a sudden. Crazy world we live in here in college. It's been late November my whole life, and now all of a sudden it's here in September, all these rivalry games. This one is interesting. I think when you look at Pitt, look, there's reasons for optimism. What I like Pitt on offense. I don't know if I like Pitt on defense. Pitt on offense with Eli Holstein. I mean, he didn't have a good first half last week, but boy, when he got it going in the second half, that Pitt offense couldn't be stopped. I like Cade Bell, the new offensive coordinator, the son of Western Carolina head coach, and for all you geezers out there like me that remember him from quarterbacking the Toronto Argonauts in the CFL in the 90s, son of Kerwin Bell. Yeah, it's going back in time. Cade Bell is Pittsburgh's offensive coordinator, and they're playing fast, very fast. Third in the country in plays per minute, the Pittsburgh Panthers offense. So they are speeding things up big time with Eli Holstein at quarterback. And West Virginia is still a little shaky on defense. So I think Pittsburgh can move the ball. I think West Virginia will move the ball too. With all due respect, Pittsburgh's played Kent State and Cincinnati. Neither team has the offense, neither team has the quarterback that they're going to face here in Garrett Green. I'm a big Garrett Green fan for West Virginia. I think he's very good. He can throw, he can run, he's very athletic, and I think it's going to be a much bigger challenge here for Pittsburgh's defense in this game. I like side and total. At less than a field goal, I like West Virginia. I still think they're the better team. Don't forget, they played Penn State. Really only one team has played a quality opponent. I don't think Cincinnati's a quality opponent. I don't think Kent State's a quality opponent for Pitt. West Virginia had to play Penn State. They had to play a quality opponent. They did hang around for a little bit before things kind of fell apart. I just think they're a little more battle-tested. I think they're at least a little bit better on defense than Pitt, and I think that they'll make that extra stop in what I think will be a high-scoring game. I think they'll make that extra stop that Pittsburgh can't make. So West Virginia, for me, will go money line with them, minus 125 at BetOnline with Pitt here. West Virginia on the money line, minus 125. I got a much better number on the over. God, I hate taking a bad number, but I still think it's a little light. I think we could get 35-31 in this game. I really do, because Pittsburgh's going to play fast. West Virginia, to me, is better on offense than they are on defense. Really, both teams are. So even at a worse number, like I've got 60.5 in pocket with this over. But I'm going to make it official still at a little bit of a worse number now. Over 63.5, minus 110 at FanDuel.
You got it. West Virginia money line minus 125 and the over 63.5 here from Bobano. Tom Leach liking to back the Mountaineers at home, not on the road. Robert Franklin with you on West Virginia.
I agree with the road stuff with Neil Brown and West Virginia. They've not been a good road team, but we're only asking them to win here. If they were laying 5 or 6 in this game, I want no part of it. But we're just asking them win the game on the road. I think they're the better team. I'm comfortable with it here in this spot.
Wager Detective with you on West Virginia here. We roll on. Next up, 4 p.m. Eastern, with the App State Mountaineers, 1-1, 0-1 on the road at East Carolina Pirates, 2-0, 1-0 at Dowdy Ficklin Stadium in Greenville, North Carolina. Let's get into the line history here for this one and the cash flow. We pop off at 4 p.m. here. This total is a 60 and is juiced to the over. This is another total that's been fired up. Opened up at 56.5, got up to 61 before dropping back to 60. You still see a lot of 60.5s on the board. So a big move to the over in this one as well. Move over to the point spread here. From a spread perspective, this 4 p.m. start, we have a move towards the Pirates of East Carolina. This opened up East Carolina plus 2.5. And the first move back on Tuesday at noon was towards App State. App State got to -3, back down now to 1.5. So we have a 1-point move towards East Carolina. Let's take a look at the cash flow then for this one. We have 91% of the tickets, and they're telling us with 4,680 tickets in, and obviously it's not the case, but they're saying that 100% of the money, 91 and 100, so we'll call it 99 here. On the money line, it's a little less. On the money line, you actually have 32% of the tickets and 45% cash on the Pirates. Wow, surprised to see App State so public, but obviously expecting a bounce back from the debacle against Clemson. I was on Clemson first half and full game. I was to sit back and relax immediately.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. Easy.
It was wonderful. 19% of the tickets, 45% cash on the over. App State opened their season with a 38-10 win over East Tennessee State. It was underwhelming. They were 35.5-point favorites. And they followed up by getting destroyed at Clemson. Clemson was up 56-13 at the half. I mean, App State allowed Clemson to put up 712 yards on them. East Carolina opened their season with an easy home 41-3 win over FCS Norfolk State as 31.5-point favorites. And then they followed up with a 2014 road win at Old Dominion as 1.5-point dogs. That was a tough football game. East Carolina Pirates won, and they deserved to win. They outgained ODU 466 to 287. Look, I don't enjoy fading teams in clear bounce back spots. If App State wasn't coming off getting destroyed, I'd be on East Carolina Pirates here. The market leaning in that direction. The Pirates playing good football. My hesitancy is bouncing back from a horrific embarrassment. Let's hear how Bobano attacks this one. Mountaineers, Pirates, in Greenville.
Maybe they're just way down this year, App State. I'm starting to think I've never been a big fan of their coach. I'll be honest. I think he's a bit of a buffoon, quite honestly. And look, I know this is a good program, but I'm not a big Sean Clark guy. Just don't like what I see. Some of the stuff in game as well. Not a big fan. I think he's won because of the talent, not because of his coaching that he's had over the years. And look, this team looks a decent amount worse than they've been the last few years. This defense is wretched. Okay, I get it. Clemson, when they're on their game can be very good, but that's still a Clemson offense that's been inept at times since the beginning of last year. You shouldn't be giving up 47, whatever it was, points to them at halftime to Cade Klubnik and Clemson last week. That's a brutal performance. They weren't any good the week before. They gave up. They struggled on defense against East Tennessee State. Don't be fooled by the 10 points. East Tennessee State had over 300 yards of offense in that game against App State. East Tennessee State in that first game of the season, and App State didn't cover there either. This is just not a very good, not as good, in my opinion, an App State team. I think they're down a tick from what I've seen the first. And I'm a big East Carolina fan this year. I think they're improving. Mike Houston's doing a nice job. The Old Dominion win should have been probably a double-digit win. I look at it as, yeah, they only won 20-14, but they still won and covered. They outgained Old Dominion, as you mentioned, Jimmy, significantly, 466 to under 300 for Old Dominion. 26-17 first down advantage for East Carolina. They won and covered in spite of Jake Garcia, their quarterback, having no touchdowns, 4 interceptions, 4. And East Carolina overcame that and still won the game against. That's a positive to me for the East Carolina Pirates coming out of that game. I think there's a reason the betting markets are crashing on App State. I think there's very real problems. This is a civ defense. They showed it last week against Clemson. I even think their quarterback, Joey Aguilar's kind of regressed. He hasn't really impressed me all that much here these first couple games. I don't think he's playing as well as he did at times last year for this App State team. I think there's a reason why this number is not moving toward App State. Betting markets see what I do. This team might just be a good notch or two down from where they were last year, whereas I've got East Carolina, the arrow pointing up on them. Let's take East Carolina here. You know what? Now at this number, let's just go money line here. I think they can win this game at home. Plus 112 at Bet Rivers with East Carolina.
East Carolina at plus 112. Maybe the extent that they lost by is telling. And maybe you can put sort of that line through the expected bounce back because of how horrific they looked. And now they're traveling on the road. I mean, maybe they would need to be at home for the bounce back to be in play. Yeah. This was a stay off until your breakdown, just because. I mean, it was East Carolina or nothing, but because of the fear of the bounce back, I'm going to take more time now with it. East Carolina. Do you agree with this heavy market move to the over?
I do, and yeah, I'll tack that on too. I don't like it as much as the side, but I'll still go ahead with it. It's actually down to 59. I just saw Bookmaker or Heritage, flash it at 59 minus 108 with the over. I'm definitely in at that number. That it's down to 59 because look, App State, I don't like what I see at all from their defense. And now I think they could move the ball a little bit here against East Carolina. And East Carolina, I should point out too, they've picked up the pace, picked up the tempo. I believe they're top 15 as far as plays per minute and the seconds per play so far this season. So their tempo has gone up a little bit, which is, I think, also what people see betting this total up.
You're locked. App State, East Carolina over 59 minus 108, and East Carolina on the money line at plus 112. We move on to 4:15 p.m. Eastern action. UAB Blazers 1-1, 0-1 on the road at Arkansas Razorbacks 1-1, 1-0 in Fayetteville, Arkansas Razorback Stadium. Let's get into the line history here. On the side, we have Arkansas as 24.5-point favorites at minus 108. Opened up at 21, a 3.5-point move towards them. Then on the total, get over here. On the total, we have this one sitting at a 61.5, slightly juiced to the over. This opened up at 60. The interesting part of this total was it went down to 58.5. This was a move towards the under before it bounced back to the over. Now we see that 1.5 move towards the over, but keep in mind U-shaped movement on this one. Cash flow wise, you have 90% of the tickets and 96% of the cash on the Blazers. Public, Road Dog, and the books opening up their arms to anybody who wants to come in and bet UAB. On the total, 62% of tickets and 89% of cash on the over. Interesting that it dropped initially. UAB opened their season with a 41-3 victory at home over FCS Alcorn State as 29.5-point favorites, covered there. And that followed up that ugly 32-6 loss at UL Monroe as 10.5-point favorites. Arkansas opened up their season with that easy 70-0 victory at home over Arkansas Pine Bluff as 50.5-point favorites before losing 39-31 in double overtime at Oklahoma State as 10.5-point dogs in one of the most exciting games, or the most exciting game of the season thus far. Take it away for us here, Bobano. Blazers, Razorbacks at Razorback Stadium.
Yeah, another buffoon coach, Trent Dilfer, for the UAB Blazers. Just not terrible hire, brutal. And I loved every second of watching his team get just absolutely obliterated by lowly UL Monroe last week. UL Monroe was a double-digit home dog. They beat the shit out of UAB. And the situation was wonderful because Brian Vincent is the head coach of UL Monroe. He got dismissed from UAB. He was the interim coach after Bill Clark retired. He did a great job. The players begged the AD to keep Brian Vincent as the full-time head coach, and they decided we're going to hire Dilfer instead. See you later to Brian Vincent. Out the door you go. And if you go to Brian Vincent's Twitter, the UL Monroe head coach, he's tweeting left and right about that he got revenge and they did him a dirty UAB. They should have retained him. The players wanted him. You don't think that game mattered to Bryant Vincent last week playing UAB, a team that said, we don't want you as our permanent head coach. We're going to hire Trent Dilfer instead. He wanted to win that game so friggin' badly, and they beat the hell out of UAB in that game. It's a bad hire. He's going to be back at ESPN before you know it, as far as I'm concerned. Trent Dilfer. It's not going to work out. That's terrible last week, 32-6. Their defense isn't very good. I actually think their offense is okay, but I think their defense is bad. And Talon Green and that Arkansas offense, after a frustrating overtime loss, you'd think maybe an emotional hangover after a game like that. I think Arkansas could be 4 touchdowns better than UAB in this game. So this is another side in total. I like over 60.5, minus 110 at FanDuel. I do think we'll see points, many more so from Arkansas. And I'm going to lay the wood here with Arkansas as well. Now, again, this is a case of I got in at 22.5 with Arkansas a few days ago. Not the best number anymore, but I think they're going to take care of business here. That I cannot imagine UAB's defense being able to really slow down Arkansas very much with what I've seen from them on that side of the ball. I'll go with Arkansas minus 24, minus 122 at Pinnacle.
An angry Razorback squad gonna pull out the wood and destroy the Blazers here. This makes sense to me, especially seeing all the tickets on UAB, expecting the bounce back spot from them. Arkansas minus 24 at minus 122 in the over 60.5. We move on. 6 p.m. Eastern, we have the Shula Bowl. Florida International Panthers 1-1, 0-1 on the road at the Florida Atlantic Owls 0-2, 0-1 at FAU Stadium in Boca Raton, Florida. This total right now low. Opened up at 44, got down to 43, now at 45. So we have a 1-point move on the over. Let's get into the point spread here with this one. We have quickly get over to the 6 p.m. games. Here we go. We have Florida Atlantic -6 at +101. You see fives everywhere else, but Pinnacle has moved it to 6. And they've kept it at 6. This opened up -6, -108. Now it's -6 +101. So maybe it's closer to a 5.5, but we have movement towards Florida International. Let's get to the cash flow then on this one. We have 69% of tickets, 56% of the cash on FIU. So Florida Atlantic, 31 and 44. And then 89% of tickets and 91% cash on the over. And we've seen it now move to the over. So Florida International opened their season with a 31-7 loss at Indiana's 25.5-point dogs, followed up with a 52-16 blowout of Central Michigan at home as 3.5-point dogs. Very, very impressive showing. Florida Atlantic opened their season with that tight 16-10 loss at Michigan State as 12.5-point dogs, and followed that up with a 24-7 loss at home to Army as 1.5-point favorites. Very Jekyll and Hyde performance. Now Army pulled out a lot out of their bag of tricks, and it was a beautifully coached game. Army outgained FAU 449 to 235. So take it away, Bobano. Owls at home, Boca Raton in the Shula Bowl against the Panthers.
So I'm staring down with this bet going against some damning series history in this annual Shula Bowl rivalry. Florida Atlantic is 6-0 straight up, 6-0 against the spread against Florida International, and every single win has been by a minimum of 19 points. They have destroyed Florida International year in, year out for the last 6 years. And yet I'm taking the points here with Florida International in this game. And there's a very good reason for that. Florida Atlantic looks, to say bad on offense, I think would be too kind through the first 2 weeks against Michigan State and Army. This Marshall transfer quarterback, Cam Fancher, he stinks. He's not good, okay? I've seen enough of him that it's dink and dunk. There's no big arm strength on this guy. Everything is short to intermediate. Measly 193 through the air against an Army defense that normally in the secondary you can pick on them. And even Florida Atlantic couldn't do that last week against Army. And then on the road against Michigan State, he was even worse. 12 of 25, 116 yards, 2 interceptions in that game for Fancher. Never really was even impressed with him at quarterback when he was at Marshall, and he doesn't look any better here at Florida Atlantic. I feel bad for Tom Ehrman. I think he's a good coach, and he's actually a good underdog, and he covered the number as an underdog against Michigan State, and sure enough, he's a favorite last week against Army, and they lose outright. It's always been that way with Herman. You want him as a dog, you run the hell away when he's a favorite. They get out of the way. You don't want any part of it. And I'll say this about Florida International. It's a program that was a bottom feeder just 2 years ago, and even last year was a tough year. Mike McIntyre has got this team playing their guts out, playing hard for 60. The game at Indiana, 31-7. They lose that game, but they cover as 26-point dogs in that game. And Indiana got a late touchdown. That was actually only 24-7 before the late touchdown Indiana scored. I like the quarterback. He's still a work in progress, Kewan Jenkins, but he can run around a bit. His pocket passing still needs work, but it can't be any worse. It isn't worse. It's actually better than Fancher, the guy he's facing here. And I think the defense is getting better and better slowly but surely. Central Michigan last week, they held them to 16. They forced a bunch of turnovers, 5 from the quarterback, Labas, for Central Michigan. That defense is getting better slowly but surely. And I think you're seeing this Florida International team make strides. They've actually been a decent underdog going back to last year, covering some numbers in the underdog role, FAU. And I like their coach, Mike McIntyre. You know, what he did at San Jose State, what he did at Colorado. You know, he's shown an ability to kind of turn programs around. So slowly but surely, you're seeing improvement from FIU, I should say. And I think in this game here, they can compete with FAU, even though the series history recently does not say they can. Yes, I like FIU here. I cashed a ticket with them last week in their win against Central as dogs. I'm coming right back to them here this week. Plus 5.5, minus 110.
Plus 5.5, minus 110 for Bobano, locked in on the Panthers. We roll on. Got to be quick here. 7 p.m. Eastern. Western Kentucky Hilltoppers 1-1, 0-1 on the road at the Middle Tennessee Blue Raiders. 1-1, but 1-0 at Red Floyd Stadium in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. We watched the Hilltoppers get destroyed by Alabama 63-0 to start their season, and they bounced back with a win over, FCS Eastern Kentucky Colonels 31-0. So at least they got the bounce back spot at home. Middle Tennessee opened up against Tennessee Tech, FCS 32-25. It was an underwhelming victory. And we just saw how underwhelming they are in a 52-3 loss at Ole Miss. This line opened up with the Hilltoppers at -7.5. It's come back a half point. So we've had a half-point move towards the Blue Raiders. On the total, we are sitting here with, over here quickly. On the total, we are sitting here with, a 54.5 -110 to the under. This opened 54, so we have a half-point move to the over. Cash flow-wise, 27% of the tickets and 25% of the cash on Western Kentucky. So we have a public home dog, 73 and 75 on them, and it has moved a half point in their direction at Pinnacle. 71% of the tickets and 87% cash on the under. Take it away for us here, Bobano, Hilltoppers, Blue Raiders.
Yeah, for the sake of time, I'll be brief. Middle Tennessee is one of my bottom 4 teams in college football right now. They're that bad. Okay, Derek Mason was a terrible hire. The quarterback is brutal. Vadiato has not gotten one lick better his whole time as the starting quarterback. He's a turnover machine. He doesn't make good decisions. Their offense is not trustworthy. Their defense is miserable, in my opinion. They even gave up 25 points to Tennessee Tech. They were 24.5-point favorites. They only won by 7. Not a good defense. They got lit up by Jackson Dart and Ole Miss last week. Western Kentucky, I know they lost 63-0 at Alabama. But they bounced back. They beat Eastern Kentucky. They're still the much better of these two teams. They're capable of going on the road here to take care of business. There's no home field advantage whatsoever for MTSU. Last 3 meetings, Western Kentucky won and covered all 3. All 3 wins by double digits. I see another double-digit win here. Western Kentucky -6.5, -120 at Bet99.
Western Kentucky -6.5 at -120 for Bobano. We roll on 7:30 p.m. Eastern. The Toledo Rockets 2-0, first road game of the season at the Mississippi State Bulldogs. 1-1, 1-0 here at Davis Wade Stadium in Starkville. We watched Toledo have a couple wins against weak opponents. Beat up on Duquesne 49-10, and then beat UMass 38-23. But as Bobano's talked about, the Macs looked really good thus far. And then Mississippi State Bulldogs beat up on the aforementioned Eastern Kentucky Colonels, beat them 56-7, and certainly came back to earth in that 30-23 loss at Arizona State. Put up 292 yards, only had the ball for 19 minutes and 47 seconds. 6.5-point dogs. They lose by 7. In the line history side of things here, we have get this up. And we have Mississippi State, Toledo total at 58, -108 to the under. This opened up at 57.5. So we have a half-point move towards the over. And from a point spread market move situation, we have, come on, it's right here. I just looked at it. Sorry, you get a little blurry breaking down all of these games, and I can't. Here we go. Thank God. -12.5 for Mississippi State Bulldogs. This has opened up at 9.5. We have a huge 3-point move towards the Bulldogs, a real legitimate move. And when we come to the cash flow, 92% of tickets and 98% of cash are on them. It's a very public spot, but the market concerned and moving in their direction, while 66% of tickets and 87% cash on the over. Take it away, Bobano. Rockets, Bulldogs, and Starkville.
Yeah, I'm on dog and over here. I am on Toledo. To mention how the MAC has been very impressive in non-conference. Bowling Green nearly beating Penn State outright as huge dogs. Northern Illinois beating Notre Dame. Toledo last year at Illinois, big dogs on the road against a Power 5 team. They lost by 2. They covered the number. A few years ago, Jason Candle's Toledo team went to Notre Dame, lost by a field goal, or it was a 1-score game. They covered the number. They have stepped up in some of these spots. And this is not a dominant Power 5 team. Mississippi State, they're rebuilding. They have a new head coach in Jeff Levy. They have an erratic quarterback in Blake Shapen. Meanwhile, Toledo, they lose DeQuan Finn because he's now elsewhere in Baylor. But I think Tucker Gleason's a very experienced quarterback. He's been in this system, in this program for years. He's been solid. No interceptions in the first 2 games of the year. That's what I want to see when you're going on the road against an SEC team. To me, I think Toledo's got the tools to hang in this game. I don't know about win, but we're talking about them getting a solid number here, double digits. They've been good in some of these spots as double-digit dogs in non-conference play. Illinois last year, Notre Dame a few years ago. So I'll take Toledo here, plus 12, minus 110 at PointsBet. Actually, I'll go plus 12.5, minus 114. Plus 12.5, minus 114 with Toledo at Pinnacle. I'm also liking the over here in this game because I don't trust Mississippi State's defense. I think you'll see enough points both ways to send that game up and over the total. And we did see Mississippi State's offense get going in the second half against Arizona State last week. So over 57.5, minus 115 at FanDuel.
Over 57.5 at minus 115 over at FanDuel, and Toledo plus 12.5 for our guy Bobano. 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Next up for us, we have the New Mexico Lobos, 0-2, 0-1 on the road at Auburn. Tigers 1-1, 1-1 at home, Jordan Hare Stadium in Auburn, Alabama. Let's start with the Lobos. They opened up their season with a 35-31 home loss to Montana State Bobcats. Now, Montana State was 13.5-point favorites in that one, and the Lobos looked good until a complete breakdown in the fourth quarter. They allowed 567 total yards in that loss. That was followed up with a 61-39 loss at Arizona. 100 points scored in that one. This was a squad that was 29-point dogs, and lose by 22. That was a better showing for the Lobos despite another wretched defensive performance. Auburn got their season started, Alabama A&M FCS 73-3 victory, nothing to really build confidence on. And then they lose to Cal 21-14 last week. They lose 21-14 as 11.5-point favorites, a big wake-up call. An early season wake-up call. Let's get into the line history here with this spot. We have Auburn as 28-point favorites. After that loss, you think that they're going to want to run up the score. This got up to 28.5, came back to 28. So we've had no movement on the side. And when we get to the total here in this one, let me get down here to the bottom. We have a 60. You see 60.5s across the board. This is a 60. Opened up at 59.5. This got up to 62 before we've seen it drop now down to 60. And then cash flow. 7% of the tickets, but 59% of the cash on Auburn. Interesting. Very, very interesting. And then 80% of tickets, 89% cash on the under. Take it away for us here, Bobano. Lobos, Tigers in Auburn.
So we saw Auburn's offense look pretty dismal last week with Peyton Thorne against Cal. It was so bad that people that lost money on prop bets for Peyton Thorne are demanding that he pay them back, apparently on social media. That was the big story yesterday. That was pretty funny to see that. And he addressed it saying, it's funny that they want money from me when they lose their prop bets, but when I win them, their prop bets, they're not giving me money. So it's not a bad response. Way to go. Anyway, if there's one team and there's one spot that the Auburn offense is finally going to get their shit together, this could be it. Look at this New Mexico defense these first few weeks. Montana State, they get ripped apart. They give up 35. And by the way, Montana State didn't really play great offensively after the game against New Mexico. They played Arizona, which, look, Noah Fafita, great quarterback, and McMillan, one of the best receivers, but 62 points given up in that game. They are a horrible defense. They're one of the worst 2 or 3 defenses, I think, in the country right now, New Mexico. It's that bad on that side of the football. I think Auburn can finally, this be the week, just to hand the ball off, 50, 60 times. And because the run defense has been abysmal for New Mexico, and take pressure off Thorne, you should be able to get big plays and score points in this game. But I like the New Mexico offense. I do. With Devin Dampier, he can run a bit. I think he's pretty decent and getting better throwing the football. Auburn's defense got carved up a little bit by Fernando Mendoza in that loss as a double-digit favorite to California last week. So I think New Mexico can chip in, and I think this has to be the week we see something from Auburn's offense. So I like this total up and over. That's the play for me in this game. New Mexico, Auburn, over the total, and we're going to go with over 60 minus 105. Actually, you know what? There's an over 59.5 right now, minus 112 at Proline Plus. We'll go with that.
Did you come close to backing Auburn to bounce back, to keep their foot on the gas, to run up the score?
Almost. I'm something about 28, that many points to lay with Auburn. And by the way, Hugh Freeze has not been a good big favorite. I mean, a real big favorite of 3 touchdowns or more. Hell, we saw New Mexico State beat them as a favorite in this price range last year. That's what kept me off. Plus, I think New Mexico can score, and there's always the back door open if Auburn's up by 28 late in the game, that New Mexico can get a cheap touchdown and cover the number through the back. So I preferred the over as opposed to Auburn.
Interesting, because I'm very interested in Auburn this weekend, and we'll need more time on it. But I'm very interested in backing them to beat up on the Lobos, who have traveled once, but Auburn's a bit of a different travel situation. Let's roll on. 2 more games left with Bobano. We don't have them for much longer. Let's be tight. 7:30 p.m. Eastern with the Indiana Hoosiers, 2-0, getting their Big Ten season started against UCLA Bruins, 1-0, their first Big Ten game in the school's history. Rose Bowl in Pasadena for Big 12 action. Indiana beat FIU 31-7. We already spoke a bit about that game. And then had a cupcake spot against Western Illinois, beat up the Leathernecks 77-3. Rourke, we love him up here. Our Canadian kid looking excellent. Then UCLA got their season started with a 35-22 home win over Boise State, and then won 16-13 at Hawaii. It was underwhelming. We know those games can be tricky. 343 yards of offense, only had the ball for 27 minutes and 34 seconds. Very underwhelming performance as a 13.5-point favorite, and under bettors rejoiced as that total was at 51.5. Let's get into the line history here. We'll start with this total. This total opened up at 48.5. It's dropped 2.5 points to 46. Then on the spread here for this one, get down to the bottom of the card, we have UCLA as 3-point dogs. 3-point dogs. This opened up at 3. It was down to 2.5 a few times, and then it went down to 2. They were just 2-point dogs from Monday at 10:56 in the morning until 6:09 p.m. at night, when it went right back to 3, which is where we stand now. So we've had no movement on the side, but a 2.5-point move towards the under on the total. You have 54% of the tickets and 61% of the cash on Indiana. So it's a very 50-50 type of scenario. And then you have 90% of tickets and 95% of cash on the under. Heavily bet under, and the market moving in that direction. Take it away for us, Bobano. Head to the Rose Bowl in Pasadena for Hoosiers Bruins.
Yeah, on the surface, we have seen some good seasons from UCLA in the past, Dorian Thompson Robinson, and they've had some good teams, and they've had some good seasons in the past. You would think, what the hell's Indiana doing laying points on the road at UCLA? I'm sure some people are thinking that right away. Well, I had big concerns about UCLA coming into the year. Deshaun Foster, I'm not convinced that's a good hire. The Hawaii game was every bit Hawaii failing multiple opportunities to put that game to bed. And keep letting UCLA hang around than anything UCLA did to win that game. I think Hawaii gave it away as opposed to UCLA taking it. I think it's a program that I've got issues with. Now, I do like their defense. I think their defense does have some, and it was a good defense last year. I thought they lost a lot on defense this year. They wouldn't be as good. At least against Hawaii, they played pretty well, but that offense is rough. I don't like much in that offense. They don't have the skill position talent they've had. The O-line's not as good. As far as I'm concerned, the quarterback, I call him Ethan Garbage. Ethan Garbers, just like his brother Chase. When he struggled, I called him Chase Garbage, not Garbers. I got to see more from him. I'm not convinced he's a capable, strong starting quarterback at the collegiate level. And I like Cignetti. I think it's a huge coaching advantage with him over Deshaun Foster. He's an experienced coach, did a great job at James Madison. I like what I see from Curtis Rourke, the Canadian quarterback, Nathan's brother at Indiana. He's playing great. The defense has really been better than I thought from Indiana. I think they can go into the Rose Bowl and win. Now, I wouldn't want to lay much more than a field goal, so I'm going to go with the money line here. Indiana minus 150 to beat UCLA.
Indiana minus 150 for Bobano. Big Ten action in the Rose Bowl. Hard to believe.
Get used to it. Yep.
Yeah, hard to believe. Let's rock the final spot on the board here for our guy Bobano. What a spectacular job, Ian, as always. 8 p.m. Eastern, we have the Terps of Maryland, 1-1, first road game of the year at the Virginia Cavaliers, 2-0, 1-0 at Scott Stadium in Charlottesville. These Terps, opened up with that easy 57 victory over UConn. and then lose 27-24 at home to the Spartans, a game they were seemingly in control of despite being outgained 493-339. I mean, 7.5-point favorites, up 14-7 after the first quarter, up 24-17 early in the fourth. And it all fell apart for the Terps, likely an angry group. Going into Virginia, Cavaliers opened their season, with the Spiders, FCS 34-13, and then traveled to Wake Forest for a 31-30 victory, an extremely exciting football game. Wake put up 544 yards on them. They outscored Wake 14-0 in the fourth quarter and pulled out the victory, but did not cover, depending on where you got it, because it closed as 1.5-point favorites. Take a look at the line history here for this one. Over here, we have our 8 p.m. action. A move towards Maryland. They opened up at -2.5, went down to -2, but it's back at 3 right now. Now, this 3 is heavily juiced towards the Cavs at -116, so you still see a lot of 2.5s on the board. And then when we get to the total in this one, we are dealing with a 56.5. This opened up at 55, opened up at 54.5 at some books, opened up at 55 at Pinnacle, and is now up to 56.5. And you see 57s on the board. This is juiced to the over. So we have a move to the over. Taking a look at the cash flow then on this one, we have 89% of the tickets on Maryland, but just 56% of the cash. Interesting. 11-44 on the Cavs at home. Then 38% of tickets and 37% cash on the over, and yet that keeps going up. Take it away for us here. Terps, Cavs, and Charlottesville.
So I counted this as, I thought this was in trouble at halftime, but I didn't give up on it because I believe in Anthony Calandria, believe in the offense of Virginia to come back, and sure enough, they did. What a second half comeback against Wake Forest last week, on the road as well. What a second half. Calandria, I believe in this guy as a quarterback. Tony Elliott made the right call. He's better than the Musket man, Tony Musket. And I think he's proving that. Calandria, he's done what a comeback that was. The offense couldn't be stopped once they got going. And the defense, which was ripped apart by Wake in the first half, they clamped down on Hank Bachmeier. He turned into Hank Bachmeier again late in that game. Couldn't make the big plays when you needed him to. And Virginia came back and they won that game. Cashed my plus the points on Virginia, winning outright. Now, I'm a little concerned, a big comeback win like that. Maybe there's an emotional letdown here. I don't know. You're playing a Big Ten opponent here at home. Team that beat you pretty good last year. I think Virginia's up for this, and I'm not ready to lay points with Maryland with a new starting quarterback now. Of course, they got Williams or Billy Edwards there, their quarterback, replacing Talia Tagovailoa at quarterback this year for Maryland. That was a brutal loss for them against Michigan State. I can't make a big deal of them playing UConn because they were just outmanned in that game. I think Virginia, it's a little disrespectful what I've seen from Virginia so far for them to be a full field goal home underdog in this game. So I'm going to take Virginia here, +3. -115 at PointsBet. And this is another game where I like both offenses more than I like both defenses. So I'm going to go with over 56.5, -112 at Pinnacle, expecting this game to go over the total.
Lex Steele on that over, Robert Franklin on that over. None ya business on Virginia, right with you on that one. Spectacular work, Bobano. I know you got to run. So I'll review all of your action. But
Appreciate it.
But before you go, please tell everybody where they can now see Hitting the Books.
Yes, Hitting the Books is still on. It's not on Pub Sports Radio right now, and at least for now, but we do have it going with me and Connor Mack, the show you've known and loved for years. Every Monday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, all the weeknight games, a large part of the Saturday games, broken down and analyzed every single week. Mondays, Hitting the Books. Check out our Hitting the Books YouTube channel. Connor Mack and I will also be doing college basketball stuff once we get into hoops November to April. So we have you covered. If you miss Hitting the Books, don't fret. We're still here. We've got our own YouTube channel for the Hitting the Books show, and we're still on Mondays live, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, every week during the college football season.
So this is on the Hitting the Books YouTube channel. Standalone channel.
Exactly. The link is youtube.com/the @Hitting the Books 2024. That's the channel URL. But if you just type in Hitting the Books on any YouTube search, you'll find us.
Bobano, thank you. I know you got to run. I'm going to review all your action. You'll see Bobano here every Thursday as we move forward. Thank you for all your hard work and your angles. It's great to have you back in business, my man. Have a great afternoon, and thank you for your time.
Great to be back, Jimmy. Good luck to you and everyone else this weekend.
There he is, our guy, Bobano. Let's review action in college football. I understand the sentiment that maybe Texas State is getting too popular, but I would like to back them here this evening. And I plan to when the show is over. I'm going to review Bobano's action, and there were only a couple spots that I felt I really need to move on. So I'm going to, what I always do with Bobano's action, I'm going to sit with it tonight, go over it all again, and go over the market moves and the cash flow. He's on Oklahoma State, Tulsa over 62 at -115. He's on the Miami of Ohio Redhawks plus 3.5 at -110. The Coastal Carolina Chanticleers -17.5. He's on Tulane plus 14 at -126. West Virginia money line and the over 63.5 in West Virginia, Pittsburgh. He's on East Carolina and the over 59 at -108. I certainly want to spend more time with that spot. He's on the over 16.5 in Arkansas at -24. I hate that that some of these, the two main spots that I really felt like I liked are such big favorites, but I think the Razorbacks just put the hammer down and the market moving so quickly in that direction. Obviously, I should have come to that realization earlier and hopefully won't have to deal with the consequences of a backdoor cover. But the Blazers offense doesn't scare me. Florida International at plus 5.5 for Bobano. I'm interested in that as well, but not the main one, and I'll get to that. Western Kentucky -6.5 for Bobano. Toledo plus 12.5 and the over 57.5 in Toledo, Mississippi State. He's on the over 59.5 in New Mexico, Auburn. I'm interested in that over, but the Auburn Tigers have to put their foot down on the throats of a horrible opposition after the debacle against Cal. I just don't see how they wouldn't. I really feel like that will be the case. And I'm extremely interested in backing them. And then would I also want, the Lobos and we're having the over, or could I just focus on the Auburn Tigers first half team total over just in case they let the foot off their gas late? I'm certainly interested in both of those. He is on Bobano on the Hoosiers -150, Virginia plus 3, and the over 56.5. So I'm going to go over all of that once more. But that is our college football action for Thursday, September 12th. And thank you guys for rocking with us. We move on, but before we do, take a look at what's going on in baseball. We cashed that first 3 under 2.5. It was a juicy spot. So, -135. These first 3s and first 5 unders. The first 3s have been fine. The first 3s plus a half have been great. And you guys, and I don't want to say out loud because it's one thing, but my part of my cap was based on, I like Feltner. I think he's a really good pitcher. I think he's a bet on pitcher. And that first 3 plus a half, would have paid juicy. The problem was it was such a low total that it wasn't quite enough. Maybe you had to take first 3 money line. What's done is done. I'm not on it. And right now the Tigers have 2 men on, so that 4 is not, it's no one's running to the window right now. You're still concerned with 2 outs, and then it's 1-0 St. Louis. The cap worked really well there. Seeing the market move to the Reds, knowing that Junis was then going to have a nice start, and then not wanting to ever fade Sonny Gray at home. I could have been on that first 5 under. Could have been, should have been. It is what it is. I got the full game under. Hopefully it doesn't blow up my face. You're in a pretty good situation in both of those. If I can cash those, I'm 3-0 with 2 games left in MLB, guaranteeing the winning night and an enjoyable night because, it's been a tough year in baseball, and it eats away at me and puts, knots in my back and keeps me unable to sleep. So it'd be nice to go in 3-0 and only need the Yankees to come home with that under 9, which I could fool with live if I get nervous. So we'll see about that. NJ Striker in the house. It is time to talk WNBA, and I bring back our co-host here on Betting with the Bag, our producer on the 1s and 2s, Mr. Jose Bouquet. Jose, how are you?
Good. I'm fine. Yeah, I'm fine. We're ready to roll.
Blue numbers. It's really interesting about the betting baseball in September because it's been my best month. And when I had my best year 2 years ago, I just destroyed it. So if you hear the market is so tight, they have all of this data. Well, that's great for us because we really, really study the market almost as much as the X's and O's. So that can only help me if the market's tighter, but everybody's different in that. 2-1 Detroit, says Kelly McKinnis, as I said, always vulnerable. These totals always vulnerable. And it's probably good for our friends who are on the Tigers first 5 minus a half. And Daby says, like Arkansas as well, having that plus 7.5. I was thinking about you in that overtime. Man, I was thinking of you, Daby Cab. I mean, the cap was so strong, and you made a ton of people money. And we got Collins Clips in the house, says Snips Bouquet. Snips, thank you for rejoining us, my friend. We're talking New York Liberty, Dallas Wings, and I doubled up on this, so I'm interested to see what the market is. I doubled up on this, and as you guys have rocked it, this was the first one I actually tweeted out. I've been tweeting these out because it's just I didn't really get rolling until late and wasn't putting my record out. And not rolling, but betting. Like I wasn't even betting them until late. It's such a small sample size. I don't want to put out at the end of the year that I'm 8-3, but I'm rolling really nice right now. And I doubled up on this spot. I'm not the only one moving on it. We got a correlated spot from our guy, Justin McKelvey. Justin McKelvey stacks play day number 2 is the Dallas Wings team total over 83.5. I imagine if he cashes his over 83.5, then I will cash at least one of my double ups here on the Dallas Wings. And shout out to our guy, Justin.
Stacks, 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 stacks. Stacks, 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 stacks.
Also, don't forget we have the Cappers contest show in 48 minutes, 3-2 start. Nothing wrong with that. And we also get to award our first 2 Harbor Acre Cottages perfect weeks to Preston Ekdahl and Dave Beckett. Preston Ekdahl seems to succeed in this every year. Every year, right? Jose's in that top 7 every single year.
Quietly, yep.
And a 5-0 perfect week. I mean, really, really excellent work. Let's get to work here. New York Liberty 30-6, 14-4 on the road. The Dallas Wings 9-27, 7-11 at home. College Park Center in Arlington, Texas. I like to think that these home and homes. Now this is back-to-back games here in Arlington, but playing 2 teams same time is right in my wheelhouse. I love situational capping. I like it more than the X's and O's. And you have to simplify things, and it seems to work out really nicely for me. And we've done a great job doing it. You have a huge favorite. You have this heavy favorite who dominates the weak opponent in game 1 and then has to sit there and play them again. I really like this spot for the dog. And then you say, what else could help here? And what could help here is the Liberty play Minnesota at New York on Sunday. That's the game they're thinking about. Minnesota 27-9, winners of the Commissioner's Cup. Don't you want to smash and grab the upstart Minnesota? I mean, now I don't cap WNBA every day. I do it with you guys. And Ron Crawford has the over 177.5. But as soon as the Fever got rolling, we faded them at home, and then they lose to the Aces again. I mean, I would have cashed on that. It's okay that you can't cap everything, and that's been a problem I have, trying to cap everything. But I like this spot for the Wings very much. Let's go over the line history here and hear what Jose Bouquet has to say about this spot. Move over to WNBA. Thank you guys for rocking with us. Don't forget we have $50 race. Oh, are we racing horses? I was hoping we go back to thoroughbreds. Yeah. Good. We have this. I got 11.5. It's now an 11. It's juiced to Dallas at 11. Want to see a 10.5. This is the same movement that we had in our last home and home where we backed the dog about 2 weeks ago, and we cashed it very easily first half and full game. This total is at 178.5, and that was with the Wings again. This total is 178.5. It's now 179. Opened up at 178.5, and I've got this broken down, but I would like to go back to that spot here where we succeeded on a very, very similar situation to this with the Dallas Wings. So let's just go over to the Wings here and which game it was. It was which one was it? Was it the Aces game? Oh, it was this one. It was this. They had the same home and home in New York, and New York won the first game very easily. And then we had first half and full game on Dallas Wings in game 2. And maybe I'm just biased because we succeeded so easily in that one. The triple up was in play. Dallas won outright in the first quarter, 79-71. It just seems like this could be a lackadaisical spot against a bad basketball team. Let's go over a little bit of X's and O's and hand it over to Jose. While we heard the play today for our guy, Ron Crawford, on the over, let's take a look at the cash flow if we can get any of that information here. Let's go. Sorry, we are potty training Carter. He's right at the final spot, and I think something just went wrong outside. 67% of the tickets on the Liberty. We don't know the cash flow. That's perfect. That's exactly what I want. And then on the total, we have no information. Teams just met in the 105-91 New York Liberty victory here in Arlington on Tuesday. Liberty's 4th straight win, Wings' 5th straight loss. This is all like setting up for exactly what I want to bet. This is exactly what I want to bet in sports. Liberty were up 10 after the first quarter. They were up 15 at the half. They dominated a bad basketball team in the Wings. Brianna Stewart scored 27 points. Ionescu had 14 points. And also, the Liberty had 33 assists, the most they've had all year. They played spectacularly well. They became the second team in WNBA history to reach 30 wins in their first 36 games. They shot 55% of the field from the field. They shot 16 of 29 from 3. They've almost played perfect basketball. Now you sit there and not care about this bad basketball team that you have to play again 2 nights later after you were almost perfect. This is everything that I want. Look, I'm not saying that this is all going to cash for sure, anything like that. There are no locks in this business. But this is everything that I want as a gambler. I got the +7 first half. It's now down to 6.5. I got the 11.5 full game. I thought about the 12. I thought about paying for the 12. It was just a little too expensive. This is what I want in capping. Rod Zawecki says Dallas in first of a back-to-back. And Rod Zawecki saying the under is 12, 5-1 Liberty's last 18 overall. Mally Mal says Seattle was so free live last night. Aubrey Travis taking it further with the Wings money line. And Tori Coker has the over 175.5 in the Wings first half +6.5. Shout out to our guy, Tori Coker. Love you, buddy. Take it away for us here, Jose Bouquet. What do you think of my action? What do you think of Zach's action? And are you moving on this?
Yeah, I won't have any official plays on this game, but I agree with you. It went from 11.5 to 11 at this point. There's more bets on the Liberty, and it still went that way. No percentage of money, but yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. I think this is a wing spot, so I won't say much, but yeah, wings for me. If I was making an official play, I might quietly bet this tonight.
I didn't quietly bet it. And it is a lower unit size, $150. So it's quite a bit lower. But I bet it first half and full game. So that's an NFL unit overall. But it is the lowest unit size that I have right now. That is our capping portion of the show right now. I would like to go back into this baseball game here. We're in the top of the 5th, and it's 2-1 Tigers. I don't want another run to be scored at all. It is 1-0 Cardinals after 5. Sonny Gray just doing what he does at home. Now 2 out in the top of the 5th. Got to get that last out. And want to take care of that. Mally Mal says Sonny Gray is dealing right now. Wings are 6-24 against spread in their last 30 games overall. And Rod, the last time I backed them, I cashed first half and full game against this very Liberty squad. So are you saying, I've got a bias because of that? And I'll tell you this. I'll say, no, I think I picked the perfect time. And this is it again. But again, we'll see how it all bangs out. It's time to race, Jose. We'll race, and then we'll review all action. We have $50 up for grabs. We have a huge, huge thank you to all our Pub Sports Radio Gold members. How many thoroughbreds do we have racing today, Jose?
82 gold members. So we appreciate all of you guys as always trying to get to 100. So let us try to get there. Those of you who aren't gold members, like our guy, like Mally Mal, Jerry Davis, all you guys, Tom Leach, TJ, would love to see you guys join the Gold Members Club here soon. But let's get racing. No dillying and no dallying here. We have a show. We have a show to do here in 40 minutes. So we ride on. A beautiful race here. Cannot wait to watch this and what happens and unfolds here. Big O, Salty Pete. Shout out to Harbor Acres, as always. Helga in the mix here early. Coin. A lot of interesting stuff going on. Nasty Nate at the bottom of your screen there in the mix, as well as making his Pub Sports Radio live stream debut tonight. Top set down there as well. Here comes some movement. Matty Ice charging to the front. Jeff Slaughter. If your horse doesn't win, you're rooting for Jeff. I'll tell you that. Salty Pete up there again here. Jimmy, take us home. Who's taking this $50 today?
Wonderful to see Jacqueline in the house. We have Salty Pete up front right now. Director 97, a two-time champion himself. Been a while since he's won a race here. Ken Wood also in the running. Sean Pulliam making a big move with the white horse on the inside. Nut Flush Allen making a huge move on the outside, but I shouldn't have said it. As soon as I did, he went backwards. Joey Harb making a move with NJ Striker, Boogie Mane, the Skunt Blaster, Zoe Faye, all in contention. And Saturated making a big move on the inside as well. Getting down to the finals, and it's Skunt Blaster, Director 97, and Kelly McInnes trying to break the streak, trying to get past the losing. Can Kelly McInnes finally get to the finish line? Kelly McInnes right there, but Little Domo and Crystal Craig has something else to say. Little Domo, and there's MMA Mad Hatter. MMA Mad Hatter out of Kingston. No, Kitchener, Ontario. Kingston's our friend Birdie. MMA Mad Hatter, $50. Richard Big Ragu came up for second. Nate Dogg in third would have broken that streak. Fernando Mendoza in fourth. Top set. Elio, who'll be with us tonight in fifth. Crystal Craig in sixth. Johnny Guns in seventh. Coin in eighth. Where is Kelly McInnes? He was right there. I mean, what could have possibly happened to him?
Kelly, damn.
Jesus, Kelly, 39th. I mean, he was steps away from winning this thing. Wow.
Oh, boy. That's hilarious. I'm just watching. Sorry, I'm watching my dog get tangled up in all these cords I have over here. So it was a great time. But shout out to you guys and MMA Mad Hatter.
Yes.
So it's going to be a fun one. Is he French? Is that French Canadian territory?
No, Kitchener's not.
Okay, so he's good. He's good to receive the money then. Okay.
It's a tough town, Kitchener. That little downtown strip. Tough town. We had an incredibly fun Yuck Yucks Comedy Club right there on that main street. It's a great. I love playing. It was a little train car. It kept all the sound in. It was a place we all wanted to play all the time. I remember Jack, the manager. God, I hope they're all well. Great job, MMA Mad Hatter. $50 richer. Make that note so I can. I'm not sure if we follow each other on Twitter, but I'll make sure that you get it. Tori Coker says, great race, but didn't see my name. We can't hear what you're saying, Jose.
Fuck. You were in there, Tori. I promise you. I have you. I'll share my screen again to find you, Tori. But if you really want to know, Tori, you were, because I have you in the race because I have you on my list, my man. But I'll find you. You're 33rd, actually, Tori.
Thank you. I'm a little nervous about what's going on in the Reds Cardinals game, but we are one out from the double up casher in Tigers Rockies here. It was
by the way, Tori, if you're wondering, there you are right there.
Oh, that wasn't a hit by pitch. That hit his bat, man. And the finger is the bat, right? When you're bunting, Mr. Benson. That hurts so much, man. God, I remember that happened to me. Okay, let's review all action again. One out from a 2-0 day, and I'm a little concerned with Reds Cardinals right here. A little concerned. Let's review all action. Thank you guys, thank you so much for supporting us. Remember, all the members of Pub Sports Radio can come rock with us in the Cappers Contest 3-0 start. Let's review all action before we give our thank yous. Don't forget about Cappers Contest and then our live stream tonight. Elio making his debut. Peter Loshak will be there. LJ, Troy, Dutch Boy Fresh, Brizzy, Wine Time. And then who did I add? We had, Sharpie. There we go. Sharpie right there as well. It's going to be extremely fun. The Big Ragu will be joining us on all of our Sunday live streams as we move forward. Of course, we have Bobano on Monday, so we're starting to get it nice and set up here as we move forward. Goran Ninkowski on the Cardinals money line, also on the Tigers money line. He's on the Dolphins as well. Gerald Jones on the Washington Nationals first 5 minus a half. Crystal Craig on Matt Chapman over 1.5 bases plus 135. Kent Davies gave us that Northwestern State and South Alabama over 59.5. Then we have here.
And by the way, coming out, that ball just squared him up right in the fucking hand.
Yeah, but that's a strike, right? That's not a hit by pitch.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I thought it would be a strike because he didn't pull back the bat, but I'm pretty sure he got first base. So it's first and second right now.
That's trash. Okay, we have a runner on.
I'm not 100% sure, though. It still has Benson at the bottom of your screen there. I wasn't paying attention, so I didn't know the first and second.
Okay,
was
good.
still
Okay,
there.
maybe we're fine.
So,
okay.
yeah.
Okay. Let's roll here. We have Voodoo Ranger on Jalen Phillips over a quarter sack. Oh, Sweaty Butcher said going to hold off on the prime cut tonight. Maybe look for a live under instead. Found some contradicting trends. Oh, well, that makes me feel a lot better. Jesus, I'm happy to hear that, Sweaty Butcher. Happy to hear that. We have Joey Todero on Ronaldo Lazy Boy Rodriguez to make it 4 straight for Joey. Planted flag fighter. Trap God on Shakir over 41.5 receiving yards. Kong's Clips pub drop. Georgia minus 6.5 first quarter. By the way, Kong is up 36 units in the first 2 weeks of college football. Unbelievably good. And I will get my best NFL pick for you. I'm going to spend some more time on it though. LJ from H-Town, Seattle money line, and says Rangers 5-14 last 19 first road game of a series. Slow Jams Arsenal on Texas State and Arizona State over 61. Joey Todero also on Keon Coleman over 3.5 receptions. Dougie Wise on the Dolphins, and we have Sharpie on Scooble 9 or more Ks, Rocker 5 or more in the alt parlay with Gavin Williams 6 or more and Scooble 7 or more at minus 105. Philly Eagle Flyer on Scooble over 8.5 Ks. How many does he have? By the way, can you...
I'll look it up right now for us.
Joseph Thompson on Dolphins money line and the over 48.5. We doubled up on this Colorado Detroit, and come on, man, doubled up on this spot here. I need 1 out.
6 Ks, 5 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 6 Ks.
Okay. Catch the double up. That's a big deal. Now I just need to get some outs here from.
I think those batters or those runners were already on. So Benson got called for a strike. He got taken out, and then Ahmed Rosario, who I did not know was on the Reds, honestly.
Oh, come on, he went. How many pitches did we have with? Okay, so Gray still got more. I need Gray to shove here. Still okay. We have the play of the day, spreadsheet play of the day from our Ron Crawford. I have it under the game. I was going to get to it, but he's in the chat talking about right now. Miami plus 157. I'm on the under 7.5 in the ball game here. Jose's on the under 7.5 and the Reds money line. Just on the under 7.5. I wish I was on the first 5 under as well. You know, with the Reds bullpen question marks, I'm not entirely sure why I focused on the first 5. I truly hope this doesn't come back to burn me. Justin McKelvey, Kyle Tucker over 1.5 bases at plus 104. Then UPK Yashala is on the Yanks first 5 and the first 5 under 4.5. That's the hold, might not the play of the day. I moved on the Yankees minus 1 and the under 9. They're juicy spots. It's very important for me to cash them and to cash this under 7.5. Pamper prop play of the day is Valdez over 5.5 Ks and DC Capper on Washington Nationals with Mitchell Parker. Cabs on the first 5 over 4 in Rays Guardians. Cabs on the first 5 over 3.5 in Rangers Mariners. He's also on Nate Lowe over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs plus 125. And Josh Smith over 1.5 hits, runs, and RBIs plus 110. Sharpie's on Rocker over 4.5 Ks and minus 130. And the Rangers at plus 128. Sharpie's also on Birdsong. Excuse me, under 14.5 outs. And the Skunt Blaster has a 2-pack Skunt Bag play of the day. James Cook, anytime touchdown, plus 170. He's also on Texas State, even money. Then Vipers on Josh Allen, under 8.5 rush attempts. And Tom Leach is on the Dolphins. My dudes, parlays, Tua over 30 pass attempts, Tyreek over 75 receiving yards, and Dolphins team total over 20.5. That's a plus 125. Then we have Dan Bonner on Allen over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Thinking that the hand injury will be reflected come the red zone. Then James Cook, anytime touchdown for saturated. Bobano's on the over 48. I'm on the over 48.5. Ron Crawford has a teaser at Buffalo plus 8.5 and the over 42. Sam Levitt over 166 passing yards, 2+ touchdowns, and Arizona State money line for Nunya. That's the Nunya business play today at plus 400. Then one more time, a run through of our college football action. Texas State +1 at -115 for the Nuke Worker. Then Oklahoma State, Tulsa over 62. Miami of Ohio +3.5. Coastal Carolina -17.5. Tulane +14. West Virginia money line and the over 63.5. East Carolina money line, the over 59. Over 60.5 in Arkansas -24 in UAB, Arkansas, Florida International +5.5, Western Kentucky -6.5, Toledo +12.5 in the over 57.5, over 59.5 in Lobos, Auburn Tigers, Indiana money line, Virginia +3 in the over 56.5. The WNBA play of the day from Ron Crawford is the over 177.5. Justin McKelvey on the over 83.5 team total for the Wings, and I'm on Wings first half +7, full game +11.5. And we got an out. Okay, we got an out. Now, I mean, a run is not the worst case scenario because I want Jose to cash his Reds bet. We have this next ball in play here, so let's see if there's reason for concern here.
I'm watching the stream and you're watching on the book, I assume.
Yes, so you got the single. We're tied at 1.
Yeah, I'm watching India hit the single right now. Looks like it should be a close play at the plate, but
no, it wasn't even a throw.
Got him to third. Okay, that's cool. We'll take first and second. Whatever.
Yeah. 1-1 now here.
It's a good play.
Oh, it'll never be easy. Never be comfortable here. That is our show for today. Thank you all in the chat. Goran Ninkowski, Kelly McInnes, Dougie Wise, Red Girl, TJ Parks, Nunya Business, Ron Crawford, Rod Zawacki, the Nuke Worker says back for the Cappers contest. Yeah, let's get some food in us. And then we have 28 minutes. The Sweaty Butcher. Oh, thank you, Sweaty Butcher. I will copy and paste that.
Ron Crawford likes the Red Sox today. Interesting.
Who's on the Red Sox?
Ron Crawford. He puts the dogs emojis. I don't know if he's on them, but he likes them.
All of these spots that we talk about here on the NFL show, I transfer them over so we talk about them on our live stream. So thank you, JTEL. So thank you, Tori Coker, Voodoo Ranger, Jerry Davis. Am I lying? Ladybug. Great to see you, Jacqueline. Damon Santori. Great to see all of you guys. TJ Parks, Aubrey Travis, Tom Leach, Kong's Clips, Blue Numbers, NJ Striker, Wine Time Sports, Lex Steele, and then Jose's going to put a bow on this, but right now, Nordy's wife, Rebecca, hopefully doing the last round of treatment. I'm sure it's happening right now. So if we can send as much positivity to her and to the Nordy family, all the healing energy, let's just get this cancer wiped the fuck out. And thinking of the Nordy family and love to the Nordy family. And if we could just all send some positive energy in their direction, that would be helpful and important to us. Jose, my friend, spectacular job. You've been working your ass off of football season here and doing a hell of a job. Pumping out these videos, cutting them up, editing, and making us look good. Thank you for all your hard work, my friend, and in this show as well. Take us home, my guy. Take us home.
Yeah, I'm chomping at the bit to get to the Cappers contest show, so I can't wait for that. I'll see you guys very soon. I've got a lot of work to do before then, so see you guys in about 30 minutes. Like Jay, those bookmakers.